Hello everyone and welcome to Swimmer Sync 27. I am joining you tonight, also joined by Super Fern.
How are you, Esther, today? I'm doing great. Today on this apparently Cat Maid Day, is that correct?
Cat Maid to return of the Cat Maid Mageddon. I think we're gonna call it nya. Lots of nyas all day. Yes, that. A little bit. We're gonna start with Conversion 2 versus Purrsilience Sun. A wonderfully cat-themed name, if I do say so myself. And logo, yeah, they had little cat ears. I mean, you can't really go wrong with that. I mean, now they've got a squid. Yeah, kind of like a squid and a cat in there. I guess that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, we're going to start with tower control on Anchovy. If I'm not incorrect here? Yes, tower control on Anchovy games. All right. So starting off with one of the solar modes and a little smaller, more cramped maps. Definitely conducive to bottlenecks, of course. Bomb rushes are quite good here. We'll see if that really comes into play. What do you think?
Okay, so recently I played in against Conversion 2 on Ludi matches. Not gonna give out a little bit, but I was gonna try to keep my head clean. But from what I can expect from Conversion, I do expect to see heavy with Booyah Bomb, which is great for not only pressuring the top below the second checkpoint, but also great for stopping tower. Double Booyah Bombs actually being quite popular because of the use of the 52 gal in the meta scenario current over the past few months. We also may perhaps see maybe a slosher in general, because it's great for picking underneath that specific point where most teams struggle to pass. Usually tower control matches on Anchovy don't go like the losing team, or the team that will lose at the end of the day, they barely manage to pass second checkpoint, while the winning team managed to either get a higher score or just pass the second checkpoint.
I mean, I would, yeah, you definitely see the slosher coming out, at least from one of the teams here. Nautilus coming out from the other side. Slosher pick does make a lot of sense here. You look at this map and you just see how much of this map just is ledges. And guess where sloshers really thrive? I mean, they basically will have the ability to just deny you a huge portion of the map as far as movement. That can make huge gains for your team. As we see Daybreak right here on the Nautilus, kind of stalking, trying to do what he can, but the armor is going to say no to that, and they're going to come in and try to get a second there, possibly a third. That is one down. The Nautilus tries to take out the backliner, but the backliner says not today, and they will hold in this. The Booyah coming out in return. They're going to fight right back, one down on the side of Conversion. Now make that 2, 1 respawning, so it's a 3v3 situation on the board, so still a little bit of a stalemate here.
I like to point out that while we were seeing the Tri-Slosher pushing on heavy, Tina with the Octobrush managed to flank from the office, and I do believe Tina probably posted a beacon over there so they could jump back in right into the action. But just seeing Tina trying to survive that, yeah, we can see the map. The beacons were being placed on strategic points on the map, and I'm seeing that this is going to be a very interesting map the Conversion will have to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. The Booyah Bomb coming out. This 2-down situation for Conversion is going to possibly open things up, but it looks like Neon's going to make a huge play to get his team right back into this and start putting some points on the board himself. It's a very small lead once again. The armor coming out just a tad bit early.
Oh, we have a disconnection.
Oh, is that a DC?
Yep, it is a DC. The NZAP has DC, and so apparently I think all teammates are stopped playing so they can restart the match.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's quite interesting to see that Conversion 2 has not been able to stop Tina from placing beacons on their base, and because of that, Tina jumping back again to the beacon, which was placed on their office, and that took the Jet Scorcher just before the disconnection of the NZAP. So we kind of see a little bit of the strategy that that Purrsilience Sun will have on this matchup, and it's basically trying to go for the flank immediately. Oh, Tina's trying to draw hard over there. That's cute. Come on, Tina, you can do it.
Not just the flank, I suppose. Oh no, that's a happy face, man.
Oh, happy face.
I mean, just as effective, but I mean, you gotta earn a heart.
You gotta earn a heart. What do I have to disconnect 2 people on my team?
Yeah, you have to disconnect 2 people. That's the only way, only option. Every time you see somebody with a disconnect, you just turn your switch off, throw it out the window, and hopefully a car doesn't hit it. I don't know, but you gotta go get it now in time for match 2.
I think you're confusing disconnection in Splatoon with trying to preserve your GSP on Smash. That's what I do.
You throw your switch out the window. Got it.
It's because of rage. The window's right in front of me.
Oh,
and it's open most of the time. I don't want to break my window. Like, do you have any idea how long it takes to try to hire someone to come here in your house to fix a window?
That's valid. I mean, you can always just open the window, yeah. You remember when the Switch came out and some dude dropped the Switch from the top of a skyscraper just to see, and it actually still worked? I mean, the Joy-Cons didn't, but we all know what Joy-Cons are like. But the Switch itself actually still worked. That was pretty cool.
But would you still have that Switch? Like, would you buy that Switch?
I would not buy a Switch that has been dropped from the top of a skyscraper. No, I really don't think I would buy that one. I feel like I would get my money's worth out of buying a brand new one if I was going to buy a Switch. You know, just saying. I mean, I guess there's something cool to be had out of having a Switch that survived a 300-foot drop, but yeah, not happening.
I think I remember the days that I was watching a lot of videos regarding which iPhone was kind of the best. So like people were doing like the bending test. It was the age of the iPhone 6, which was one of the phones that Apple that you put in your pocket and you pick it up, it's already bended.
Oh, so the answer is none of them.
Yeah, kind of.
Wonderful. I mean, none of the. I guess it happens. Electronics are definitely that. Nintendo kind of has a history of making electronics that are just really, really freaking hard to break. They kind of like child-proof them. I think the Switch is just the first time that hasn't really been the case. I digress, though. We're going to get right back into things with Conversion versus Purrsilience Sun on Tower Anchovy. You're absolutely right when you were talking about the beacons. I don't feel like it's so much about just constantly having a flank on them, so much as constantly being behind them in a way that brush is going to be a thorn in their side. Right, if they have a brush behind them at all times, the brush is doing exactly what it's really good at doing, and that's just being really, really annoying. They can slow down the game, they can distract people in the game, they can basically force people to have to play back and help their team push up a little bit more. The brush, when it's doing stuff like that, picks aren't near as important as just, frankly, just coming out and... we have a DC already.
I'm sorry, Conversion too, but it's 2 replays. But we gotta be playing. Let's see. Here comes the flank. Come on, Brush, survive the Stingray. Come on, come on. The Stingray fall back.
Speaking of, oh no! That's the problem with Octobrush. You kind of can't really get out of that situation all that well. That was really dangerous for Tina, actually. You know, I have to hand it to him. Conversion's still playing really well. They're finally down, but they actually got some points on the board in that engagement.
Yeah, I agree. Now with just a simple disconnections, it's gonna be a 4v3. It's not gonna be that easy. We might, as long as they still play normally, as in try to stop the tower as much as they can, because you can see the difference between the end zap of Purrsilience Sun and Conversion. They can still try to survive, but with Tina now underneath their base, this is gonna be even harder to drop, and the Nautilus is trying to push them away from Tina, which is quite actually a good team play nevertheless. But this is just a proof that how much... the Trislash against the Tina.
I mean, it's probably too little too late, but they are able to stall this checkpoint just a little bit longer. The Ray coming out, the missiles coming out as well, but they've got their backs against the wall. This checkpoint is possibly... No, actually, it looks like this double is going to save the day, so really good stop. You know, they're gonna play this one out. You know, they imagine if they win this in a 3v4, just what it's going to do for them in this tournament as far as you know, how good they feel.
Yeah, that is true. It is a good win to put on your resume on Splatoon. But now here comes the hard part of Encho Vital, which is trying to get the push going. And we already see the Translation and K-Shot going down. So Jet Scorcher, this is the perfect time for you to get a quad, just saying.
Well, unfortunately, Daybreak here, or Purrsilience Sun, cannot get a quad. That is actually something that is now impossible for them. But they can definitely try their darndest, and they can at least get 3. And that's, you know, sometimes it's the effort that counts. But 1 down going already. Make that 2 down on the side of conversion with the DC. The Ray coming out, the missiles coming out. The missiles are actually going to get 1, but Tina's going to come in and try to play cleanup. No, she is going to go down as a result. So the last teammate now has to fall back or fight it out. They are choosing to fall back. It would seem their other teammates are able, in response, to start pushing in through the street here. That's going to open up this whole side. So now Lewis on the back line has to try to hold off this entire side with objective by himself as he tries to allow his teammates to come in around the side. The Booyah Bomb coming out as well. That's 2 down on the side of conversion. Make it possibly 3. No, that is still going to be a 2 down. Lewis on the Rays, just doing absolutely phenomenal work, keeping the team in this match. You have to hand it to them. They're not giving up.
I mean, you shouldn't ever stop playing because of a disconnection. Of course, I'm saying that as if you are forced to play, because if you DC and the rules are in your favor, please stop playing so you can redo the match. But because they lost the second one, they have to keep playing at this point. And that goes as well for if you're playing solo queue. Just keep playing, because even if you are in the disadvantage, you can still learn a lot from the positions that the enemy is taking in order to benefit from that position. Like right here, because of how much Purrsilience has control of the map, that shows why it's so good for them to keep pushing from either the office where Tina and from the where Tina has the beacons and from arcade, because you basically corner them into positions that they are forced to go back or to get splatted.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, they basically, in this, they've got a constant 4v3. This allows them to basically have constant pincers, right? When you have the man advantage, you just have that much more of an advantage against the opposing team. You can only do so much when the pincers are never in your favor. If you look at a match, and the way that the pincers kind of work, the pincers in a match are constantly evolving and moving, right? So when you put them in a pincer, it only takes a half a second for them to start making kind of a counter pincer out of that pincer, right? So some part of your pincer is now in a pincer of theirs if everybody is positioning really well and moving really well together. And that's why moving well with your team and positioning well with your team is so important. I guess it's the most basic way of putting it there. Because those pincers really oftentimes do pay dividends. When you have a 4v3 advantage, you're really able to start cutting down those possible kind of counter pincers or whatever you would call it. The possibilities for that, and at very most, they're probably going to have 1, and guess what? You can immediately kind of clean up through, and even if you lose 1, just play through and follow through, and you'll almost always win the team firefight. Just take things together, play together, and you'll end up on top. Purrsilience Sun gets a nice, easy, well, actually, I wouldn't say easy conversion, put up a hard fight, but they get a very, I guess... Yeah, it wasn't a KO, but they get a very hard-fought yet lucky game 1 given right to them and earned, and now they're gonna go ahead to Rainmaker on Humpback.
Rainmaker Humpback Truck. This is, I don't know why, but I will always remember when a certain Dapple Doolies only uses swim speed and object shredder commentated in one of the it wasn't in the zone, but it was a great tournament. I don't remember the name, but everyone in the chat was happy that he was there. I don't know if he noticed he was being trolled, but the comment was, "Don't ever fight on elbows," even though that's unfortunately how most of the Rainmaker Humpbacks end up being, because that's the hardest part of the map, is you as the Rainmaker trying to find the perfect way to push in below their spawn, because that's where the Rainmaker usually goes to, is the safest and most common option. With the gear and the strategy that I've been seeing from Conversion and Purrsilience, it seems that Purrsilience will still try a backlinerless comp, with Nautilus being the longest range. And I believe the Conversion 2 would also try the same comp they've been trying, but I don't know if the Jet Scorcher will still make a comeback, because using Stingray on this map sometimes is not that much worth it, since that usually the Stingray holder is the one picking up the Rainmaker sometimes, but also when it's not them, then someone that is engaging underneath the drop has to drop from flanking or from pushing, pick up the Rainmaker, push in, and that costs a little bit of time.
I think I would have to argue that point. Personally, Stingray, it's objective. Yes, it's very capable of getting picks. It's really good at it. But all in all, when you're putting a Stingray into a comp, what it's really exceptional at doing is forcing movement, right? So if you can start forcing people in, this is why for a short time we saw kind of a Stingray missile meta before that kind of died out, because, well, once the missiles have dropped and you're that much farther back and you're fighting in a 3v4 and your Stingray is just way in the back, it's still Stingraying, it just doesn't lead to conducive, effective team fights all the time. Still, it forces team movement, and in Rainmaker, that can be incredibly effective, because now the Rainmaker is really slow. How well is it able to avoid that Stingray on any map at all? So Stingray definitely has its pros. As you see, what is that, double Stingray? No, that actually is a
Dynamo.
Stingray. Yeah, that's a Stingray Booyah Dynamo, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it's gonna be armor and splat bomb. So the double armor is still being kept. Instead of the end zap, we see Bucket and Dynamo performing the double armor, and so it's basically kind of the same comp.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. So the armor is coming out once again. What I'm actually really surprised to see so far in this game is that frankly, we're not seeing much Splash. And Splash is what's, at least in high level, really taking over the conversation right now. Because, oh my goodness, 170 special and 180 special on a really lethal, solid painting weapon. That's not well balanced. Period. At all. Especially one with a burst bomb as well that can move really quickly. That's no bueno. That's not going to go well in the overall balancing of the game, and people are starting to catch on to that right now, just how broken, how quickly the Splash can charge special really is. And so you're seeing a lot more Splash enter the conversation. Whether it's going to be there to stay or not is yet to be seen, but we're seeing a lot more people pick it up and play it, and it is proving that it has conducive, effective results. And you know, we'll definitely have to see. So I'm definitely expecting to see more Splash come out during this tournament, especially when we have some more high-level players and teams later on in the stream. As we see the Rainmaker coming around the left side, he is going to run into both a metaphorical and literal wall here on that ledge, and he's going to have to go ahead and give up that life to try to get his team right back in this. They are moved up quite well, but they don't have very much of a paint advantage. As you see now, it starts to bite them. They are going to start going down to this Inkjet. That is 2 down on the side of Conversion 2. So Purrsilience Sun, you know, they really looked like they might not do incredibly well after the first game was as close as it was in a 3v4, but I have to hand it to them. They are proving me absolutely wrong in that statement, doing a phenomenal job just holding on to a very early push. Really kind of cutting off the options that Conversion has to work with.
Yeah, Conversion having taken the 5 lead, the second time they picked up the Rainmaker and got even less and less lead with the 5 is going to be a problem. With 2 minutes and 30 seconds of match, still a lot is possible, because I see that both teams managed to get into the enemy spawn quite well. It's just a matter now that if Purrsilience can hold their defense while still trying to push. Here comes the yeehaw of the hammer. It misses the Rainmaker, but Conversion 2 it seems that they have an opportunity to push if they manage to keep their teammates alive and manage to get control of mid. Because right now Rainmaker is stuck on the left window, and that doesn't sound good at all for Conversion 2 in order to make sure they go to games 3.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Honestly, I would have to say that Purrsilience Sun, working with the Octobrush in their comp, this is a situation in which they do really well, and just as I say that, 2 go down, make that 3! This is absolutely huge. The Brush trying to do everything they can, but they will go down in a trade. Now it looks like Conversion has to move fast. They only have 15 seconds left on this Rainmaker as they held it for a really, really long time. It looks like they're actually going to have to explode here. Don't kill your teammates. Don't let them go down too. Get on the other side of this barrier here. No, they are going to explode. I take that back. They're going to reset the Rainmaker just in time, but they are going to put themselves in a pincer as a result. And this is not going to work too well for them. I take that back. That's 2 down on the side of Conversion. So Purrsilience Sun have definitely done a good job putting up a nice hold on that push. It was kind of a disadvantageous push for Conversion, and they kind of had to make the play that they did. Unfortunate as that is for them, it just happens sometimes. They just didn't quite get the picks early enough. That being said, this is where Purrsilience Sun is going to really thrive. Because they have a Brush on their team, kind of able to really get behind the opposing team, they can kind of push the neutral for the team fights that they want to take much further back, and that's going to really, really help them. You see, as you see right here, Conversion 2 are painting forward, but they have these huge green areas on either side of them. This is really going to lead to a lot of pincers. It's going to lead to a lot of really bad fights. The Brush is just going to get right in behind them once again, bring out the hammer, and they are going to be denied by the Rainmaker. That's absolutely massive, but they have to bring it around this corner. Unfortunately for them, they are a little bit slow to act. That's going to get their teammate picked off. The bombs are going to come out once people have respawned. That is now 4v4 on the board. Once again, make that a 3v4. This is not looking good for them. The hammer coming out, the bombs coming out from the other side, and it is over. Purrsilience Sun with a 2-0 in the set so far.
Yeah, watching that set, you make a valid point. Conversion 2 was a little bit too slow. Looking up on the special count, if you don't have any more specials, like they use all their specials during the push. They use the Stingray, not the Stingray, the Inkjet, and the armor from the Dynamo. Like it didn't do much, and if you couldn't push in, even with your specials, it's very unlikely that you're gonna be able to do anything with this specific comp, because you'll now have to survive both the hammer, the booyah bomb, and the armor from the enemy team, and the missiles. So like, yes, indeed, Conversion 2 was playing too slow. It couldn't keep up with the pace of Purrsilience Sun. Yeah, and that's about it for comments.
Yeah, speaking of too slow, we're actually going to stop this set at this 2-0 right here. The third game is going to go to, at least on the screen, go to Purrsilience Sun. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case in Battlefy as well, but it was
Conversion 2. It will count as a 3-0. Because we are late on the set. We're late on a set, so it will go to Purrsilience Sun.
Sure thing. And that's actually really huge, right? Starting with a 3-0 on the first set of the tournament, because every single game counts at the end of the day. Tiebreakers are super important. You never know when you're going to finish or where you're going to finish. So, yeah, that 3-0 is absolutely the way that Purrsilience Sun wanted and needed to start this tournament, and they're off to a really strong start.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Purrsilience Sun having the great advantage on Group A right now, and they're going to be fighting in the future. Meowss. I should have said that, because now that is a clippable material. Okay, I'm looking at the groups a little bit, and I kind of don't like seeing a specific group on a four players per group when it's just like three teams, because like basically you kind of have to win 2 in order to progress, and for that, Conversion 2 will have a little bit of difficulty trying to come back to go to the top brackets of the next phase of the tournament. But we have confirmation that we're gonna have Maids versus Sea Boiz.
Maids versus Sea Boiz, indeed. Sure thing. Right before we jump into that set, I would like to point out one thing. As always, feel free to donate for future IPL tournaments, prize pools at streamlabs.com/IPL Splatoon. Definitely make sure you're on top of that. We have other events coming on this calendar, of course, so definitely take a look there as well. And on that note, we'll get right back into the swing of things.
Oh yeah, looking at the calendar, I already see when I have to pay my taxes. But regardless of that, I just want to add one more thing that was a little bit curious. It was about when you mentioned the Neo Splash-O-Matic. You were mentioning the Neo Splash being 170 special, or the Vanilla Splash?
I believe it's Vanilla Splash at 170. I know Vanilla. One is at 180. That might be the Neo Splash.
No, the Neo Splash is 210.
200. It still paints so well that's really.
Oh no, yeah, it's still a very good weapon. It's still very.
No, it's still able to just churn them right out. As we go into our number 3 and 2 seeds once again. Our Cat Maids with this is a pretty interesting comp actually. So let me pull it up right here. Cat Maids with Shy. Babby on Baby, RZ, you know what? I can't quite tell who these people are, but the Sea Boiz, once again, we see Giabianya, Kijonya, Red Linknya, Chicklenya, Bandanya, and Okunya.
You know why
Cat Maids Mageddon.
I don't recommend you to put one of their teammates, the ones with a lot of A's, on Google Translate. It actually is a slur in another language. I always find it amazing when I see him tournaments and when TO say their name.
Oh.
It's, let's just spell it, ASS in another language.
I mean, yeah. On that note, we're gonna just
take a quick break.
Get right on over. Yeah, alright, so we're gonna go right back into the map pool. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. If I'm not incorrect here, I've got to pull it up. Do you have the map already?
No, we do not.
Alright, let me do that real quick at Inkling Performance Labs and go ahead and look at SOS maps. Round 2, we're gonna actually have looks like Clamblitz on Mako Mart. Alright, Clamblitz on Mako Mart, indeed. That's actually pretty interesting. The first time we're going to see Clamblitz in this tournament. It's pretty interesting to see our number 2 and 3 seeds fight this one out, of course, as well. Especially in such a momentum-based mode as Clamblitz really is. Just throwing a single large clam in the basket actually does more to hurt you than it does to help you most of the time. Unless the other team's about to get a really large push off on you, but then why are you in their base? Well, their entire team is in yours. You know, you got to play with your team. You got to, you know, where's your team going to take the engagement, right? Where's the other team dictating? If they're the ones pushing up, where are they trying to push the neutral point of the team engagement to? The neutral point between both teams, where both teams have equal advantage, of course. You know, you always want to take engagements based on like how and you know what part on the map you are at, and then of course, for instance, if you're on a retake, where's the other team trying to push the neutral point to? Where do you want to actually hold them to? So you then want to, like, for instance, if you want to stall them out so you can hold them back on a push up, that's what bombs come in handy for. So you guys can start pushing in on a neutral point that's more advantageous for you when you're pushing back in. Likewise, when you're trying to push up, you've got to be really, really fast. You also have to basically force the issue before the opposing team can really react to it. Stuff like that. Clamblitz, being so momentum based, plays really, really well to that, because you're constantly taking multiple team fights, possibly holding back on just where you want to take your team fights, of course, until you're actually able to properly start executing on the objective, which is storing clams in the basket. Because sometimes you need to hold a large portion of the map for quite a while before you have enough clams to actually start scoring significant amounts of clams. Knowing where all the spawn points are on the map, of course, is super important as well. There's a lot of learning to be had, and it's something that's just not really well explained outside of competitive play, and I'm sure that's why most people really don't like it in solo queue, because it's a mode that's not played very well in solo queue, and it's also a mode that's not very well understood.
Yeah, like YouTube has been kind of cool with me putting a lot of polls, and I still remember. I think it was do you know the Octoboy gang, like the people that the more of the creative scenario from the community. They made a poll back in I think a month ago, and in solo queue, Clan Blitz is despised by most people. So I do understand that people don't like Clan Blitz that much, and if you use the solo queue argument that Clan Blitz shouldn't be banned, I kind of don't think any argument based on solo queue is justified, because Clan Blitz is actually one of the best modes if your team is well coordinated. Like, it is a great mode because it changes objective. It's like because zones, it's usually like everyone's concentrated on one side of the map and trying to perform that specific action, which is control the zone, and then fights break out on the right side, left side, usually something a little bit more concentrated. Rainmaker is the same thing with zones, but instead of being in one place, it's on very parts of the map, but it's a fight concentration on that place towards the enemy spawn. Tower control is kind of the same thing, but a little bit slower than Rainmaker. But the Clan Blitz is that you have two baskets, and you're always trying to get position yourself where you can get clams, and clams in general makes more use of the map than any other mode. If you compare, for example, Clan Blitz or Mosa Forge, you always think that you're always trying to control the entire map, while tower control is always like the same path of the tower with some places not being used, and then Rainmaker is kind of the same thing, and zone is just a big fight in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, there's always those modes with more, either nearly stationary or completely stationary objectives, right? And those are, you are then forced to make the neutral point a certain spot on the map, and so you can start playing around that at times, and that definitely starts to simplify things. That's why zones is so popular. It's really, really easy to start teaching basic team play mechanics and basically a proper understanding of how the game really works before you can start taking it into the more complicated modes. I feel like Clan Blitz is so disliked because that understanding of the game, it's not something that's very well or widely taught. And part of that is because most people really just have to have a certain amount or kind of exposure to actual high-level competitive play before they actually understand things. If you are building your entire understanding of the game around only your experiences on mid-level or low-level or entry-level comp, your understanding of the game is absolutely 100% incorrect, and you need to understand that and be receptive to change and new ideas, and trying to learn as much as you can from as many places as you can. And everybody teaches their idea of how basically the game's theory. Everybody teaches it a little bit different, right? And everybody has a slightly different understanding of it, and that's why it's so important to try to reach out to as many people as possible. And so that's
a cat May.
Yeah, it's a cat. I mean, it's Cat May. So.
But the logo is cute. The logo is cute.
Yeah, we have Cat Maids versus Sea Boiz now.
Sorry, I was interrupted because it's so much cuteness today. Keep going. That's true.
I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I'm gonna say yeah tonight, I'd probably at least have a few dollars.
I was expected to just say I would have one nickel. Because you only said it
more than one time. Oh no, I said it earlier now.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
but
for sure.
Just to add a little bit of numbers for the conclusion on the Clan Blitz. According to Nintendo statistics, because the game, let's just resume it, it sold around 10 million copies. They say two things, so people can keep that in mind. 1% of that audience is in rank X. 50% is below B minus. So you kind of can see that if people below rank X and like even lower, because the lower it gets, the more percentage it is. You can see that if on those lobbies it's kind of a bad experience in solo, people will show a little bit of resilience for that specific mode. But it's kind of interesting because it explains why the general concept of Clan Blitz is despised by most people, because 1% is the maximum you can get of like competitive players in general. So the casual is the one that dominates it the most.
Yeah, no, for sure. Speaking of which, we're going to go with Maids, our seed number 2, versus Sea Boiz, our seed number 3. What team do you guys in chat think is going to win? Definitely shoot your predictions right as we're about to get started on Clan Blitz Mako Martin, game 1 of round 2. We see the double Splatling coming out with an armor. The armor might be a little bit tough for Chargers to deal with. There's definitely been talk recently whether Chargers are as good in the current meta as you know, something like a Splatling that's really mobile and actually can kind of shred through those armors pretty well. Normally a Charger has, if armor wasn't in this game, there would be almost no reason to play backline Splatlings. I'm going to be honest with you. A 1-frame kill time and a much faster charge time than most Splatlings. It just makes a lot of sense. But the armor really changes things up quite a bit and it shakes up the balancing of the game. So it's no surprise that Chargers absolutely hate armor because they can't just delete things. And
I mean, I
if
don't
my
want to
weapon,
be salty,
if my weapon was made to delete things and suddenly I like had absolutely no effective functionality for a certain period of time, I hate to break it to you, I would be kind of upset at the game's balancing myself, but that's kind of the talk about how this game's balanced and the special balancing actually works in this game, whether it's actually effective or not. As we see one down on either side, once again, a power clam is being lost. The armor is going to save that Nautilus from sheer destruction. LK is probably kicking himself for that, saying, man, if only I'd been able to get 2 shots on him, but the chance was not given. That Nautilus is going to back right out because he had the armor knocked right off him. But it is going to be 1 down on the side of Sea Boiz. Their T-Tech is going to try to bite off just a little more than they can actually choose. Shy over here, understanding the neutral point on the map for his team's engagement. Now it's time to push it forward once again and start moving up together as a team. We see them pairing up, make that tripling up through the right stack, but they are going to be flanked as a result, and they have to move to the right side of the map here for them. This is going to put them in kind of a nasty spot because it's very difficult to move out of this area and make an effective play because you are kind of in a pincer from 2 directions almost at all times. So now his team is going to have to try to buy some space down the middle so they can make a play through the right side. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to get 1, possibly 2 on the stack. No, it looks like Shy is going to go down. The splash paying dividends, able to really make things work for just long enough to get that crucial pick. But they are going to fight, they are going to fall back just a tad longer, try to space, try to lay those bombs, paint as much as they can, get that armor out. Just get those armors out for the team engagement always. Paint, 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 paint. That's what you do on a junior. That junior, however, is a little bit separated from his team. He is going to go down to a fizzy bomb. Shy is going to take advantage of it. Now they're pushing the neutral point around the side, so they're ready to start pushing forward into a pincer. Well, they put some points on the board. That is 2 down, but they're able to move objective all the way down to 56. And possibly further. Yes, they do. All the way down now to 41, and they're still going at it, but they are going to start falling back just a little bit. Ooh, the ballpoint is going to have to just... this is a really tricky situation for them now. They're going to start falling back. More points on the board. The Charger is going to say, no, you can't stay up there. They're going to limit how far they're able to start pushing right back and retaking the middle part of this map. But man, that's an absolutely huge opening push for the side of Maids.
I am holding myself so much to just say, oh yeah, if armor was that good, what combo that ballpoint couldn't splat them in faster than a charger? I was holding that, but you got a good point. The cat Maids strongly made their very good push while they had control of the map. That was amazingly well displayed, and with the coordination of two armors on cat Maid's side, it's gonna be very hard for them to push. In order to get the lead, they have to go at least 70 points, but unfortunately all of them getting wiped at the open of the basket. They basically at the 50 seconds point mark just gave another power climb to cat Maids.
Yeah, no, and you can see the really big difference between the two pushes that you've seen in this game so far, right? So cat Maids were on the right side. They knew that they wanted to push objective further down the enemy street in order to actually make an effective push, kind of secure that whole pincer, so that they had to kind of divert their resources and attention in multiple directions. That allowed them to actually have the space to start pushing through and actually getting those points on the board. Unfortunately for Sea Boiz, what actually happened was they just kind of tried to scream forward and take as much space down the middle as they possibly can, but it was going to be to no avail because they didn't have that pincer and kind of trying to blitzkrieg their way through the middle. You see the way the ledges are laid out here. You are constantly surrounded by the time you get to the basket by enemy players. You have to open up and secure at least one of those sides on this map before you're really able to make an effective push on Clan Blitz. And oftentimes, for instance, the far left checkpoint on tower control, it can be very similar. If you want to start cleaning people out, you've got to move very quickly to do that as well. So this map, once again, it's pretty difficult to pull off, but it is very easy to understand once you kind of see it in an overhead and know how you're supposed to move and execute on pushes on this map. And I think cat Maids understood very well, and they just they executed perfectly on that one push, and that's all they really needed. From that point on, they started tossing clams off the map. That is a double-edged sword. You can't do that too early in the map on defense if you're trying to limit opponents and how they can score, because it is going to raise the spawn rate of clams every time you toss one off the map. However, they were doing it effectively, holding off the opponents from being able to have enough clams for an effective push to begin with. And so Sea Boiz just kind of had their backs against the wall after that one large push by cat Maids, and they just kind of had to make do with what they had and just throw everything at the wall and see if it stuck. It really didn't, unfortunately. It was very well executed. Cat Maids just had control of that match from the very beginning. They took their they moved neutral where they wanted to, and moved how they wanted to. You saw when they actually pushed through, the two on the right side just waiting there for the actual proper time to start pushing through, right? So we know that shot caller was there calling for that stuff. So it was just beautiful communication, just really well executed. Job well done, cat Maids. 1-0.
Yeah, I'm getting more Twitch points on the chat because of that. I bet all of them on cat Maids, just because I flipped a coin here. But now we're going for time control.
Yeah.
And remember, control of bridge is what you want the most and will give you the advantage of the map, especially for controlling it in order to push in for second checkpoint.
Actually depends, I think, right? So this map can be very two-sided. Now, holding the middle portion of the map can be a huge advantage, but you can make do kind of pushing the other team into a pincer if you're able to position really well and make holding the center of the map more of a detriment than a benefit for them. That is exactly what they did right there. And Chuckle with the Nautilus just coming right in and sweeping through the middle while his team bought and held the far left side of the map. So they started opening up two sides of the map, and that kind of opened up a very early stop for that push. Now they're able to put points on the board themselves. The missiles coming out once again as well. So they are going to be the first team to push through the first checkpoint. The Inkjet coming out with that armor. This is not looking good for cat Maids, but an incredibly important stop with the Stingray coming out as well, just in time to really limit the damage. It's going to be 2v2 on the board with one respawning for Sea Boiz already. So this is going to put Sea Boiz at an advantage. I take that back. It looks like one goes down just as I say that. So it's still a 2v2, make that a 3v3 with one respawning on either side at the moment. Things are now going to be evened up once again. The missiles coming out because they know it's time for a full team engagement, and everybody's coming out with specials and pushing through. The armor coming out once again as well, but that armor is going to really pay dividends here in this team fight. It's not going to allow that one player, that really important pick that they were shooting for under the bridge, to go down. So they are going to have to back up and retake this engagement in just a few seconds here. And they do so really quickly. Over the bridge, it looks like is going to be their main objective, but Shy coming out with the burst bomb rush to try to limit the rush over the bridge, and he is able to hold it for a significant amount of time. His team is able to start putting some points on the board, so he's going to move through the right side here and try to buy as much space, maybe even a pick, but he's not able to do so. That is an incredibly important pick for Sea Boiz to get, but they still have to put their focus on the tower now, and it is not going to be looking too incredibly well for them as they have a man disadvantage. The armor's coming out is going to change things. That's 2 down on the side of Sea Boiz. So Shy on that slasher fully respawned now with the armor coming out in response to that inkjet is going to buy just enough time to really take the lead just by 1 point. That's going to change this match entirely. Now the burst bomb coming out. That is another beautiful pick on the left side of the map. They're buying they're really doing an excellent job of just buying a huge portion of this map by working the two sides of the map really, really well around objective. Unfortunately, it looks like Shy is going to go down, but Kijo is going to start pushing forward once again, but he has to tread carefully. He has to paint carefully. The missiles are going to come out, and that is going to be 3 caught in the missiles, so it looks like this team fight is going to be a large one. They have to push on that, but they know that, unfortunately for them, Maids were just a little bit too far back for them to really capitalize on those missiles, so they're going to have to work without them here. The Rain trying to deny an area, but the Slasher's going to do a better job at denying this K-shot in area. The Ray's going to come out as a result, and that's going to put a whole stop to this push. This is going really well for the side of Maids so far.
Yeah, with the Stingray finally managing to stoop them at 57, it looks like Maids might actually go for the second point. That armor trying to stop the frontliners on their sneaky was very crucial and very mid on time, and now it seems that we're gonna go back to a fight for control of mid. No team can actually start pushing the tower, and the charging backing off quite well now. So even with the slushy, the Nautilus here, we might still see a little bit of more mid fight happening.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, if you're the Charger there, you bite off as much as you can chew until you lose all your teeth. And once you've lost all your teeth, jump out, grow some new ones, and pop a Stingray. The most important thing in this case on defense is that you have this Stingray right now when you need it. And the Charger is about to have it. Yes, they do have it, but nobody is on the tower. Shy's going to push in, get a really important pick, make that 2 with that bomb rush. He's going to start painting with it to open up some area around him, but he is going to go down. Now, the Charger has already popped that Ray, but they are at 82, close to another one. The missiles are going to come out in response, make that Ray at 99, now 100. It's going to come out immediately, and it is going to put a hold to that checkpoint, but is it enough? No, it came out just a little bit too late. So the tower is going to start falling back a little bit once again. Maids have their backs against the wall. Now they're 1 down. They have to really make something out of this. Shy trying to do everything that he can. He's going to die as well. That's 2 down on the side of Maids, and that is game 2 to Sea Boiz.
That is indeed a good result for Maids with for Sea Boiz. We are gonna go to game 3 on their bracket, but I think we might have a little bit discomfort with time, given that we are already at the mark of the hour. So we're gonna check a little bit of the production if the Rainmaker Black Valley will be streamed or not. But it's interesting to see that Maids, when they were trying to stop the tower by the second checkpoint, the Charger couldn't use Stingray to stop the push because they were pressuring the Charger pretty hard. So that's why the Charger couldn't use Stingray and ended up and then they couldn't stop tower in time. So that was an unfortunate for Maids when playing defense. Apart from that, we unfortunately are not gonna go to game 3, and the third match will not be streamed. We're gonna go now to the round 3. We're gonna start round 3 this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to cut it off there. And that really does sting a little bit, because Sea Boiz earned that game too. I mean, they straight up earned that game too. And yes, Bill Fusion up in chat over here, grow some new ones. Indeed, you got to grow some new teeth when you waste all your charger teeth. You got to have something to grit, right? You're going there, you're trying to insta delete people. You gotta know how much space you have to work with and really force people to give you more space than you actually probably deserve. Chargers for sure. But that being said, let's definitely go ahead to break for just a little bit. Before we head to break, I would like to point out once again, Inkling Performance Lab still has staff applications open. We're always looking for additions to our production and commentary teams, as well as tournament staff. So if you're interested in helping out in these areas, please fill out the form. If you're interested in more than one area, you may fill out the form multiple times. So definitely head to iplabs.inc/help us if you are interested. That being said, we are once again, like I stated before, we're going to go to break, so be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna get started with round 3. We've got mid Nya versus Nya surfing. Gotta go with the Nyas because of course it's Cat May. So on mid Nya we've got Nova, Rhythm Nya, Authentic, Geo, and Tent Nya. On Nya surfing we've got Ying, Yamur Nya. We've got Noodles, and of course we've got Alex as well. So definitely going to shake things up. We've got 5 versus 4, so we'll see if a substitution comes into play for mid Nya. We're going to start as well. Let me check the maps real skiddly diddly quickly. Yeah, we got Splat Zones on Inkblot Art Academy to start. So finally, we're going to see a stationary objective right smack dab in the middle of the map. We'll have to see how that shakes things up.
Splat Zones Inkblot Art Academy, one of the few times E-Leader is in place, and not a few times, but many good things can happen with E-Leader. My friend told me one day about Tri-Slosher being good defending mid. I hope I can be proven wrong by seeing maybe a Tri-Slosher defend top mid. Apart from that, I think we're going to see a little bit of Brella play perhaps from Nya surfing, and also we can see the sloshers coming in quite nicely because this is a good map for sloshers. They given the height difference this map has, it does make sense for for sloshers.
I mean, look at this map. It's all ledges, right? Almost every elevation change, aside from a couple ramps here and there, 4 ramps if I'm not mistaken in total, is literally just sharp elevation changes that sloshers, like the machine that we see here, can take very good advantage of, as we're going to see a little bit of a slow start on the side of mid Nya. The Junior immediately going for armor as a result, so now they're going to have the armor out. They're going to take the engagement now just a few seconds later than they previously would have. This is going to play in their favor. They're able to take this firefight in mid. Unfortunately for them, they're not going to get a pick with the armor, but they are still going to get a nice cleanup pick on the engagement nonetheless. 2 down on the side of Nya surfing, and that is going to open things up as far as objective in the middle of the map. That's a 3 down on the side of Nya surfing to start the match. Armor coming out and is ready. They're not going to pop it early, so they're going to wait as long as they can. Just try to, deny as much area over there as possible. Just hold them as far back as they can. So now they've got 2 on that plat as a result. So they're pushing the neutral for this engagement as far back as they possibly can, but they are going to get a little bit separated from the rest of their team. That's a 2 down situation for that team. As a result, that Junior is going to go down as well, make that a 2 down situation. So just like that, Nya surfing are right back in this, and guess what? They've got beacons. You cannot count out beacons.
Oh no, beacons is gonna be a much major problem for Midnight if the ballpoint managed to set up them properly very nicely. The main problem that I see that might happen is that Midnight might suffer a little bit from overextension. Ooh, that was a...
That's exactly the problem, right? So you can try to deal with the beacon issue, but unfortunately they're probably going to be pretty well protected. Somebody on that team knows they're there, and they're going to position in a way where they can make sure that if somebody goes for the beacon right there, it's actually some temptation, purposeful temptation, to try to get somebody to bite off a little bit more than they can actually chew. That ballpoint going down right there is going to be absolutely massive for Midnight here. They now have fizzy bombs, lots of bombs to work with. 1 shot on this flanker on the right side, make that another 1 down, so they're just ticking off their time. Night Surfing needs to be a little patient here to say, okay, let's regroup, we'll give up the lead, we don't need to be impatient, we just need to take this as a team where on the map we can and want to. So set up to try to take the engagement where you need to. Unfortunately, it's going to be to no avail. That's going to be another 1 down. It's a 3v3 situation on the board. As a result, they're finally able to start pushing right back in. The baller coming out, but it is going to probably get them picked off as they try to rush down 3 with it. So a nice push back in finally, and just in time for Nya surfing.
Nya surfing had a problem right there when they were losing lead. The Soda Slosher, someone goes for the dive. That's the surfing, but just at the daytime, not nighttime. But yeah, the problem that I
Your
was seeing with
practice.
Night Surfing was that the Soda Slosher got splatted twice in a row against the machine while they didn't pop armor. So I don't know if it was a miscommunication between the teams and not knowing when to start pushing, or was just a misfortune on the part of the junior not popping armor sooner or later, or something in between of the Soda trying to start something a little bit too early.
Sure. We see another one going down. It just looks like Night Surfing are just trying to bite off a little more than they can chew repeatedly, trying to push the issue at times where they really can't, and as a result, it's not going to work too well for them. One down is going to hurt them quite a bit on this pushback in, but they're still able to make a really important push right there and hold this as long as they can. They get a trade, but that's not going to help them too much. One in the zone, and that's not going to be enough. That is a KO for game one.
Midnight getting the first game right here. I'm gonna say I really like to compliment the tag 12 a.m. because it makes you think while we're seeing these players on league and in tournaments, like what's the name of the team, and that is quite creative. But yeah, with the slushy machine top fragging, getting the most KAs in the entire match, and the coordinations in between the armors, it was pretty well a good match for Minyat Surfing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go for Clan Blitz, Piranha Pit.
Wait, you didn't say it
Piranha.
right. You didn't say it. Yeah, piranha. You gotta
I
go
like
Nya.
to
Everywhere you can. We're cats, man. I mean, we're
I
cat
like to
maids.
appreciate
Everybody.
Pete. Pete he suggested that on the chat, and I just read that.
Everybody is a cat maid. These are the rules of the internet. The moment you boot up your phone or your computer or whatever you're using to watch this stream, you have transformed into a cat maid. Have fun and just own it. I
Can
don't
you
know.
actually watch streams on Nintendo 3DS now?
I mean,
Possibly.
maybe. I mean, if you guys really want to see some proof, right? So Kraken, he watched one of our streams yesterday, and as a result, transformed before our very eyes in a live stream into a cat maid. He is permanently a cat maid forever now. Good luck, Kraken.
Does Kraken also wear the outfit as well?
Yeah, actually, it was pretty.
Oh.
It was pretty funny.
It didn't take 1,000 donations on the IPL. Kraken was just waiting and waiting for that eventually to happen.
Yeah, sure. And before we hop into round two as well, I would like to point out, once again, speaking of tournament donations, as always, feel free to donate for a future IPL tournament's prize pool at streamlabs.com/IPL Splatoon. So on that note, we're going to get right back into things.
Clan Blitz. Oh yeah, Clan Blitz on Piranha Pit. Okay? So I'm gonna say just something. Even though this is a good map for Jet Squelcher, I don't think we're gonna see neither of the teams playing that. I think the comps that we saw with the ballpoint and the squeezer, they're gonna keep that comp and just try. Maybe a bamboo might show up, but like the idea is, I don't think they're gonna see. We don't see a Jet Squelcher on one side and neither on the other.
It's actually orchestrated really well in other modes, like Rainmaker on this map, for instance. Just how long and large this map really is. When you try to understand this map, you have to start understanding how you can start forcing the map to be a little bit smaller so that you can start working it a little bit faster. And that's why like in lower level and mid level, you see quite a bit of Jet Squelcher here because it's such a large map that things just move around so slowly that, yeah, a Stingray is going to be really devastating as a special on a huge, slow map where people just don't have much space to move forward very well. Unfortunately, they are going to go one down, trying to buy a little bit of space forward. They are going to get another pick as a result, kind of a consolation prize. The bomb behind them, Splashdown coming down as a result. He's going to say no, thank you. They are going to get two down just in time. That power clam going in, it is, I just said a consolation prize before, but, I guess that's what that power clam was as well. So the Slosher trying to hold off this left side and push them back from holding the two sides of the map. They are not going to be able to do so. They're going to go down, but it is going to be a 2-down situation on the board for Midnight. That bomb spacing is going to come into play here. The baller coming out as well. So Nova needs to move forward just a little bit with his teammate. They are going to have to back up just a tad as a result, but on the right side, Oth is going to get an enormous pick in that pincer, so now they can start following through and pushing through. 4v2 situation on the board. The bomb rush comes out from the Slosher, but it's too little, too late. The rain is going to get him as well, though, but they are going to lose the lead just by 1, so nobody's got a safe lead to work with so far in this match at all.
This lead is too short to be called a victory just yet. Might get a few more claims from Midnight, but if Night Surfing with 2 power claims, it's starting to get a little bit more pressure for Night Surfing in order to come back from this situation. But the possibilities are still infinite right here, and if they don't, with jumping in with their armor was not perhaps the best idea ever. They still have a little bit of clams they can throw in. 4 just spawn underneath the basket. They're 4 clams away. They're 2 clams away to finish with the KO, and that's gonna be it for game 2. Midnight's gonna get the second game.
Yeah, no, for sure. When objective is sitting in one place, area denial can come into play really, really well. You know, if you're gonna try to push in from that top left, you need to try to buy some space. Some sort of space to be able to do so, because you're pushing off a high ledge, and usually, if I'm going to be honest with you, pushing back in, getting too close to a ledge is just a perfect way to immediately go down and achieve very little. You have to move with your team on something, or make a situation that allows your team to be able to take a more advantageous position to start taking that team fight, right? So that, you know, from what I usually see on that map, around that basket, a bomb rush does help quite a bit. It's also really, really helpful if you can do something like your teammate's got a stingray, so he goes to the middle part of the map and pops a stingray, and suddenly people have to divert their attention to the stingray for just a second, and that'll get people right back in on the left side. Now your stingray just has to probably immediately jump out because they're now a sitting target and everybody's going to rush them. And that is going to leave a 3v4 situation. So you have to start thinking out these kinds of team engagements, exactly what you want to do, how you want to do it. But you can't just kind of pop armor and try to swing right back in over a tall ledge like that. Armor isn't going to help you enough to really win you that team engagement. And Midnight did a wonderful job executing on that hold and continuing to put some objective on the board. And, you know, it was an instant KO on that push. They finally got the first true push of that game.
Yes, I agree with that. Indeed, like it took them a little bit more coordination with Special trying to get them off. I think I would have it's hard to say because the Night Surfing had a little bit more of a different comp with Specials. I don't remember who had the baller, if it was the Googlers or not, but just the armor on its own was not gonna be enough to guarantee the control of the basket again and the end of their push. And with that, we're going to go for tower control on Starfish main stage, which is a Ray favorable match. It is going to be interesting because we are going to see most likely just no charger still, I believe. Both comps are still going to go chargerless. We're still going to see double armor we're still going to see armor, at least one from each side. I would like to see the Crapid still in play, and I'm actually, the ballpoint is also, I think is going to come back on this one.
Yeah, no, ballpoint definitely would help quite a bit on this map, because while it at most is kind of a 2 to 3 sided map, the 2 sides around the middle point are incredibly small, and for that reason they're very easily defensible. You can also cut them off really well, and you have to pass over on a grate, and that's a very slow form of movement, as we're going to see the Slosher here try to work that grate himself. He's going to look at mid and realize that now he has to collapse in on this pincer for his team as a result, because he tried to move to that left side and it opened up the middle of the map, and Midnia just wasted absolutely no time just kind of ramming their team just straight through that hole in the middle that Night Surfing just left. Unfortunately, it looks like they just tried to play it a little bit too slow. They lost the engagement, but now they have to fight off two people rushing the tower. They are able to do so with a pincer. Bomb spacing in front, the slosher behind. That is going to buy enough time for them to push through the first checkpoint, and this is already a nice opening push on the match for them. This is a huge opening push that is very possibly going to set the pace for the rest of this match here.
Oh yeah, interesting to see. Night Surfing lost control already of the snap on the beginning of the match, and a lot of engagement lost on the first points. This seems that it opened just a lot of opportunities for Midnight to just push all the way to 51 and break the first checkpoint. Right here, we're just seeing jumps and jumps happening, trying to get at least a little bit of picks. But if Night Surfing is smart, they will start to do their push. They'll try to coordinate specials, and hopefully nobody will flank them, and they can just get it, not only the first checkpoint, but maybe a little bit more.
Sure. The flank coming out right there as a result, I absolutely agree. One thing I do want to note, so both juniors on the teams are playing just a little bit separated. Now that's going to hurt the Armor Junior quite a bit more than it's going to hurt our Bubble Junior, of course, but the Armor Junior is really team dependent. You know, you have to play up with your team, otherwise you're underextended, and you have to move with your team as well. So you're able, while painting, to actually put the paint where your team really needs it. But at the same time, you have to choose your engagements properly and wisely. And, we saw earlier, for instance, the Junior took an engagement with a slosher when they had plenty of time and space, just a couple seconds or so, to actually just choose a better engagement. You know, stuff like that. Those are kind of habits that are trained, and those are the kinds of things that can only really be worked on when a team gets together and says, okay, so here's how we need our Junior to move through on this map. This is how they're actually going to stay alive, as opposed to going to some part of the map, painting a lot, and just being super far away from the team when they actually need the Junior there with their spacing in their paint. It's not a support weapon if it can't even reach its team in a split second. So, that's going to be the disconnect that both teams here are having to try to play around. Unfortunately for Night Surfing, it is hurting them just a tad more than it is Midnight so far. The Junior on the tower, doing Junior things, sitting on the tower, definitely what you need, but unfortunately it is not going to win them that team engagement. A beautiful pick, though, by the slosher. The bubbles coming out is that other Junior is just gonna say, no, thank you. I take that back. Blaster, they're gonna say, nuh-uh, not happening today. I'm not going to allow you to even take this engagement. Another huge pick here on the left side. They might be able to get just another. The inkjet coming out, but it is going to be a defensive special, and they are going to go down immediately as a result. That is two more down on the side of Night Surfing, though. That is huge for the side of Midnight. They now have people up on the left side, the right side of the map. The bubbles coming out, denying huge areas. The Junior is going to get the pick with those bubbles, and they are going to be able to move the tower now all the way past 20. Down to the last checkpoint, down to 15, now down to 10, and counting, but they have 3 down. Can they finally get the last few points to get through this last checkpoint? Yes, they do. Are they able to KO? They do KO. That is going to be a 3-0 win for Midnight.
Hold on that auction, we still gotta tabulate the results. I would like to point out just one thing for Night Surfing. The problem I saw with Night Surfing wasn't the matter of comp, is the matter that every time they were trying to push, they were always denied by not paying much attention to their surroundings on the map. The sloshing, the squeezer was one of the first ones to go down every time they tried to push, because when they were by the little extension of the stage on the path to the tower on the enemy side, they just couldn't start the movement, and they were being flanked by someone on behind, that being most of the times one of the Slayers. And because this team is composed of everything, and the Junior, they had 3 Slayers and an armor bot. Like, the range wasn't the problem, it was the lack of awareness. And you can see the lack of awareness happening at the breaking of the second checkpoint, when the Heavy had the high ground, watching the tower from above. I don't remember who exactly respawned, but immediately after they went in the direction of the Heavy, trying to get the higher ground in order to do a little bit of defensive positions, Immediately, we saw two players from Midnight going to the enemy base from the snipe, and that could have been avoided by just being a little bit more aware of the enemy's position and the calls that you could have done in the voice chats.
I
So
know for sure.
yeah, night surfing, you need to be a little bit more aware of positions and possibilities of flanks. That's my tip for you because that could have at least saved the KO.
Well, I'd actually like to elaborate on
Hmm.
exactly what Midnia was actually doing there, right? So they worked those double bubbles. I loved what they did on that match. It was absolutely perfectly executed. So they were really well equipped to make wonderful moves off of the two great sides of the map with those bubbles. And what happens when you start pushing those bubbles in from the sides of the map is you start denying huge areas of the map and pushing in the middle as well. So now that you've bought a whole side, you're able to make a pincer, but instead of making your typical pincer through the middle, you're now pushing the pincer to a side of the map and collapsing in on them that way. You actually saw as well, they had a really strong understanding of just how well bubbles are able to work on certain portions of the map. So as they pushed forward, they knew, okay, so snipe, we have to take this part of the map so we can start taking the top left. Now, the top left over there, for instance, is a very defensible position, but not when it's impossible to defend against an insta-pop bubble. You know, and if you're able to move fast enough on that, you can deny that entire area and just immediately delete everyone and everything trying to defend over there. And that's exactly what they did. That bought the tower enough space to just really scream forward. And of course, at the last little bit, the tower was completely surrounded. But guess what? You can't shoot through. You can only shoot at a bubble, and it worked so well. They did an excellent job using the special to its strengths on that map, and it's definitely something that everybody could watch over and just watch just watch what they do. That being said, it was an absolute pleasure to commentate for you guys today, but that is going to be it. Oh, I take that back. It looks like we are going to be doing another round. I will still go ahead to one of my talking points. The Midway Ink Tour is running again with Tournament 2 on May 8th at 2 p.m. EDT. This is your chance to earn more points for your team. Those with the highest point total at the end of the season get to play in the championship game for a cut of the prize pool starting at $200. So follow them at Ink Midway on Twitter for info and more.
Perfect. And now we're gonna still be waiting on the other teams to see who's gonna advance from the other brackets because I believe. Oh, actually, well, 1 second. I'm looking at round 1 by accident. Yeah, we're still waiting on Catmate versus Friends to finish, and then we can start separating the teams into the group phase. There's gonna be the Great Y, Hammerhead, Mako, and Lantern.
Yep. That being said, we do have some interesting results so far for our standings. So Meowss is, of course, in first place in Group A. Friends in first place, tied with Maids in Group B. We'll have to see what happens there. Azure, of course, is in first place for Group C, and yeehaw is in first place for Group D, and of course, Chocolate Milk with Ranch, is in first place with Group E. And Reese's Chocolate Peanut Butter Cups is in first place for Group F, all with 3 wins apiece. I will have to say, chocolate milk with ranch, interesting. I want to point out real quick just how many videos I have seen of just Australian people trying ranch for the first time and just going, "This was made by the gods."
What does go in a ranch recipe again?
I mean, I honestly don't remember. I'm gonna look it up.
You like it, but you don't know what goes in it? Okay, I think I found
pretty much. It's just such a staple. I don't know. Alright, so ranch dressing is an American salad dressing usually made from buttermilk, salt, garlic, onion, mustard, herbs, and spices mixed into a saute based on mayonnaise and other oil emulsion.
Oh,
sour cream and yogurt are sometimes used.
So oil, butter, like you're already screaming fat. Like
America.
No, I was just gonna say that. Okay, fair enough. You're screaming
America.
It's America.
Yeah, I mean, what did you expect? It's an American staple. I eat it with vegetables. It's quite good. If you haven't tried ranch,
I think I did. It's just that I never think of it.
Definitely do it.
But still, like, another thing is, what does that have to do with cats? And I think it's just the milk.
Hold
Like,
that thought.
Mm.
Our streamer's got to pee. We're gonna go ahead to break real quick. Of course, of course, once again, it was a pleasure commentating for you tonight. I was Astro, joined today by Fern as
Too
well.
gay.
I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna
really
go
talk.
take a break. We see you guys in a minute. Take it away. Take it away.
Welcome back, everybody, to SOS 27 for Cat Made Mageddon. Yeah, I am Astro, joining you once again, as well by Fern.
Hi, nice to see you again. And I will honestly would like to go for chocolate milk with ranch right now. It sounds really, really good.
Well, that is kind of one of our team names. I mean, wait, you said you... that sounds terrible. Ranch is great, chocolate milk is great, but you don't mix them, buddy. Yeah, you just don't, alright? You don't. That being said, we have a very limited amount of time to go through our talking point real quick, so we are going to do so right away. Squid Junction is here, and their 7th installment is this Sunday, May 9th at 7 p.m. EDT. Like always, they offer double elim with counter picks, as well as a quality stream, and great tournament experience, so hope to see you there. Definitely check out more at discord.io/squid_junction.
And I can guarantee you it will be a great way to spend your Sunday if you're gonna play it or if you're gonna watch it. Anyway, just try to be there. We'll love to see you there. We'll love to enjoy a quality time of tournaments on a Sunday with everyone that is here watching us today. And speaking of what we're gonna watch today, it's chocolate with milk with ranch versus yeehaw.
Gonna be a really
now
fun
I'm gonna
team
leave
name
it
to
to
say.
you.
I mean, it's we're and this is actually, these are two of the best teams in the tournament tonight, right? This top bracket final cut play, this is what as viewers we are truly here to see sometimes. It's amazing to see some of the up and coming players and teams for sure, but at the end of the day, we want to see the best players win, and that is what we're going to see tonight. Yeehaw versus chocolate milk with ranch. Yeah, we're going to start on Rainmaker Black Belly Skate Park. Talk about a roller coaster of a map.
Roller coaster of a map. It's the only map I see a ray come out faster than an armor. And they don't even go for the pop, honestly.
You wanna test me? You wanna test me?
You wanna bet? I'm gonna bet my
yeah, you wanna bet?
Yes,
yeah,
I
can get
bet.
an armor. Oh, look.
I'm already seeing the jet sculpture. I'm already seeing two jet sculptures.
Two jet sculptures? Well, it's that kind of map. Look, this map is such a roller coaster as far as Rainmaker. It's so unpredictable sometimes that you honestly just need those rays on this map to slow down the game a little bit. It's just one long line that you can just scream the Rainmaker forward. We see the rain coming out, but it is not going to get any sort of picks, but it is going to force some movement. The armor coming out as well, so the Nolan's going to have to back up. One down elsewhere, however, for chocolate milk with ranch, so Nolan backing out. His teammates are going to get two more, so they are able to start pushing forward. This is going to be their opening push. They're setting up. Now they have to decide where they want to push neutral forward to. They know that they want to try to buy a little bit more space, so they're going to be cautious. They're going to be patient. It's a long match ahead of them. It is just a tad late to pick up the Rainmaker. Unfortunately, on the left side, they weren't able to get the important pick to be able to hold the Rainmaker and have it push forward. The Ray is going to come out and put a stop to any of their aspirations. And yeah, that's exactly why Ray is played on this map.
Yeah, no, I do understand why Ray is on the map, and I do have to admit I lost by a few frames. The NZAP got armor a little bit before the jet sculpture. I was watching because I wanted those 10 bids of yours, but I didn't mind losing my 10 bids. But yeah, Cotton right here, Cotton is a great player of Rapid Blaster, and with him on the Rainmaker, it just shows how brilliant their teamwork would be, but that double will cost them a little bit of points, and they would not be able to push into further, unfortunately.
But that was an absolutely enormous Booyah Bomb. It bought just enough space for this the shooter on the left side to be able to stall the Rainmaker a little bit more, but no, they are going to go down, so the Rainmaker is going to start pushing forward. They have to try to buy some space on the left side, the right side on that ledge, and they do. The Ray is going to come out and stop the push in its tracks, but at 44, so not exactly the safest of pushes on this map, but it is points on the board nonetheless. 2 more points on the board before some cleanup picks coming out. It looks like Nolan is going to do his very best to try to buy as much space around the Rainmaker as he possibly can. Ooh, another huge pick getting his team right back into the fight. He has a Booyah as well, so that is likely going to come out once again the moment that his team is ready to start moving forward. The bomb is starting to push forward people to the right side, so the armor is going to come out in response, and they're going to start moving away from the right side and pushing through the left, and that's exactly what they're able to do with that armor. It's going to protect them, and now they have to start setting up neutral where they want to take this engagement. Booyah is going to come out on that Stingray. Is it going to be enough? Unfortunately, it looks like they are going to go down to the Rapid on the other team. That's going to buy a 3v3 situation on the board, so nothing to do for nothing doing for either team here so far.
Yeah, with the position of the Rainmaker was still in mid, the Chocolate had still a little bit more time to use the Ray and stop their pushes, which is now coming the second Ray, trying to stop the Rainmaker by basically the same point. Unfortunately, it's not going to be much of a help. That Ray is just being too much aggressive. Yeehaw has the opportunities to push. They still have the lead. They're not playing defensive only. They're still trying their best to push. And by pushing, they also make sure that the Stingray from the Jet Scorchers will be usually mostly for defensive and barely for offensive, which is which you're trying to avoid. And by doing so, you don't lose the lead as much.
Yeah, just a bit of a misjudgment there. Probably a habit caused by solo queue, moving sideways to a Rapid, trying to get out of the engagement. Unfortunately for him, that's kind of how you die to a good competitive Rapid, and he is going to go down. That's going to buy some space and a mid paint, a lot of it as well, possibly the left side of the map, so they're going to be taking the slower route, kind of the safer route as well. Now they have to try to scream through this hole. They are able to scream through it, but not to a little bit larger lead. They aren't able to stretch it at all. That stop is going to come from the mini just in time. The missile is coming out, but it doesn't look like it's going to do a heck of a lot for either team. The roller trying to be a little sneaky there, and he's just not going to be able to do much. The Rapid coming out. The Rainmaker trying to take this fight on the right side. They have a bottleneck here on this side of the map. They are in a pincer, so now Kim on the left side becomes the most important person in this engagement. They are going to start switching off. Nezzy is going to go down on the left side, though, to the Pro. That's going to open up this engagement for Yeehaw. They're going to be able to push forward, but no, they are going to take a 1-for-1, and that's only going to stall the Rainmaker just a little bit longer. So the Ray coming out to finally clean things up and put a stop to this push. So the Rapid coming out, they're going to do everything they can to stop it from being popped and try to grab it themselves, but to no avail. Too little, too late. Round 1 goes to Yeehaw.
Indeed, there was an opportunity where Chocolate with Milk had the upper hand just a little bit, where they picked up Nolan with the on the Cape Pro, but unfortunately Kim was ready to perform the. According to the game itself, they actually have a name for GG Stingray. It's called Shining Victory Beam. Kim was yeah, that is the thing. Callie says that on the after you finish the first campaign of the game, and yeah, with the Stingray being used over there to stop the Rainmaker just in time, it was well performed. The overtime was cancelled, no overtime will be guaranteed, but unfortunately since the Jet Scorcher wasn't using the Rainmaker, they could have used Stingray themselves, but unfortunately since it was just the Stingray, the Jet Scorcher and the Rainmaker alive on Chocolate Milk, they were not in a good position to use it to counter the Stingray and still survive. They were still going to be picked by the other Slayers as cotton, basically, with the Rapid Blaster.
Yeah, no,
so Chocolate Milk will have to win 3 of the Splat Zones Manta, Humpback, Pump Track, Climb Blitz, and Tower Control Sturgeon in order to advance to the next part of the tournament, while Yeehaw only needs 2 more, Splat Zones and Climb Blitz.
Yeah, no, speaking of flat zones, Manta Maria, yeah. We're going to start with a lot of ledges, a really weird design that kind of leads itself into a bit of an S shape, I guess you will. Kind of look at the map sideways. That's kind of largely the way that it functions. You have these kind of snipes with a grate between them in mid. Now that's super important part of the map because it really dictates how well you can move in and around the middle section of the map. The double zone on this map as well, around the giant pillar in the center, is very, very difficult to deal with because you can't just scream specials or paint or spacing right through that. You have to work around it. That can really dictate how you take your engagements that way. You have very precarious openings on the left side if you're trying to take an engagement towards mid, but that's a really risky thing to tread. As we see the blob coming out actually this time, foil flings as well, so a really heavy painting game it looks like. However, I feel like chocolate milk with ranch are just that much more heavy painting. Pros on either team though.
Yeah, this is actually quite interesting. I saw the blob had a sub power up and a thermal wing. This is gonna be quite interesting to see and to play well. The wall, is gonna be much of a big asset. I think that's the idea if you're gonna put that much of sub power up. I don't know if a main would be necessary, maybe just a little bit less. But with chocolate milk right now having control of the match, of both zones, and apparently the enemy's bunker, only Nolan is alive, trying to survive on the right side and not get picked accidentally by the blob. That's what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, no, Azelf here on the Junior, doing what Juniors do and just painting the living heck out of zone. Nolan trying to get as many picks as he can. He is able to get one. The missile's coming out, so this is their chance to push in. The Booyah coming out as well. That is going to buy their zone. Kim is going to try to pop that bomb rush, but the Booyah is going to kind of deny a pretty good portion of it. He is going to get that pick back in, but he takes his eyes off the prize, and he is going to pay for it. He does go down to the Squelchers, and now just like that, yeehaw right back in, though.
I like to point out that because we had the camera on Kim does what every charger does. They see a point. I want that splat. That splat is mine. I'm calling one shotgun. It's mine.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's actually even the best players sometimes go for the pick instead of the taking the engagement that will actually give them more control of objective. There is a certain amount of effectiveness and holding off people from being able to get back into a firefight. But at that point, they're going to fall into a really disadvantageous position in the first place. So put your insta-death laser where it's actually effective and help your teammates in their firefights by dictating where opponents can actually move. That was just basically the play that needed to happen there. He does go down. His team, however, is able to pick up the W's on that firefight nonetheless. And now they're once again in control, but not for long. Chocolate Milk with Ranch are going to scream right back with their heavy painting. The Blob and the Junior just really working some magic for them, and they're going to be able to immediately paint out the significant portions of the map.
I think what I'm seeing right now, because like what is happening mostly is just a trade in between, like one team loses the control of the map and then gives it to the other. The 57 and 43, it's technically a very close range, but Chocolate with Milk seems to be able to finally managing to survive a push from yeehaw, and that's why now they are getting a little bit less. Yeah, that's basically the same thing that's happening. It's just a trade in between zones and who managed to survive a push. The enemy push, and that's what made just Chocolate Milk get a little bit more points on the score. But now it's just going back to yeehaw. This is just a trade in between zones.
Yeah, no, for sure. We see once again the armors are going to come out very, very soon. He's waiting until his teammates right back in. They are going to pop it now. The teammates in, so this is when they want to take the engagement. They're going to try to focus the right side, but the Charger is going to deny that for them. The Bia coming out as well. So this is going to make things really, really tricky because now they're being held back to a line. They only can stall zone, but they can't really start pushing through, following through, and taking. They are able to, once they reassess their positioning, move to the top grates and get the Charger out of there, able to start taking both zones. But is it really safe? We have yet to see. They aren't able to push through on that street just yet, and yeehaw is going to scream right back and take control of the zones. Once again, they finally do at 57 with a minute left in this match. That bomb pick is going to be absolutely massive, and getting Chocolate Milk with Ranch right back in this. That's another huge pick by Azelf. They're getting the team in this. Finally, they are going to try to bite off a little more than they can actually chew with their now gone teeth, and the Booyah Bomb is going to come out on the left zone. They are going to take back control. 8 seconds left on the match. yeehaw have to try to make things work with one down. They finally do. That is 2 down on the side of Chocolate Milk with Ranch. Can Birch make anything out of this situation? He is going to unfortunately for them, go down. The Jinger is going to get the teammate right back in, but Nolan is going to clean up and try to then get the pick here on the left side, trying to buy a little bit of space and time. He has the booyah. That pick is absolutely massive with 10 seconds left to go. Now the counter is down to 50. They have to make it happen right now. The booyah is going to be a wall. Can they paint through it? They will have to, and oh, they're able to stall it. Will they be able to stall it just long enough to get the W on this? Nolan gets one pick, but the rain is going to come in. That's a full wipe!
Unfortunately for Yeehaw, that's going to be a game for Chocolate Milk. As I was saying, this was mostly a game trying to survive the enemy pushes. Yeehaw had the advantage with both zones and just 2 points away, because remember, you have to get the tie and then get the 1 point difference. It was very, very close. It was a matter of all happening on the very last push. I don't know if the Booyah Bomb, like, I understand the strategy for the Booyah Bomb. It was a playbook. You throw the Booyah Bomb on the drone, trying to get the control of it. I don't know if it would be better to hold it a little bit early, or maybe just throwing at the blob. Because like, if the blob had an opportunity to throw rain, that could have also delayed. Like, many possibilities could have happened. I don't think you can blame specifically anyone on that game. Both teams play very neck to neck, in my opinion. It just came down to basically the zone collaborating to a specific team when they were deciding to change from orange to green or green to orange. So that actually was one of the best matches that I commentated with you, Astro, so far.
No, that was definitely one of the better matches of the tournament so far, and hold on, boys, girls, and everybody else. There's more to come, and it's only going to get more exciting from here as the teams whittle down to the W for this entire tournament this week. You know, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier, the top cut play. This is what sometimes at the very end of the tournament we're just really here to see, and it's so exciting. You know, as a newer player to comp, or somebody part of lower or mid-level, they can come and watch these matches and try to learn a little bit, because these teams are playing smart around each other. They know where they want to take the engagements. They're then taking those engagements around those spaces, those neutral areas on the map, the neutral part between the two teams, and they then play around those and try to shift those and try to work those in their favor. So they start following through on the engagements, and then things start getting a little better because they're following through on their specials as well, making plays out of them, you know, using every special as well as they can. The booyah there at the very end was really nice because it was just this enormous wall that the other team had to try to paint through. And of course, you can't really get through a booyah bomb. It's not possible. You try to walk through it, you die. That's just what happens. I digress. Both teams going for rather aggressive early push, so something has got to give here. The blob is going to try to buy as much space and deny the left side as much as he can, but he is going to run out of ink, so he's got to fall right back to the right side. Now they don't have either side of the map, so this jump out is going to work very well for them. Azelf is going to go down as well in that engagement. This 52 is going to start getting a pick on the board. Oh, just like that, two really big picks to start limiting damage, and Chocolate Milk with Rancher already back in mid, taking things back in their own hands.
Chocolate Milk has indeed way more turf than Yeehaw at this point. So the first push was indeed a matter of like if they will be able to stop getting splatted by Yeehaw with the CDS, the Crapid, and the K-Pro. And I see that's why nothing else happened after they threw the Power Climb, because they could not survive the amount of things they lost from Chocolate with Milk Ranch. Chocolate Milk with Ranch.
Oh!
And we're seeing right now the CDS struggling to get into the enemy spawn right here, getting picked by the end zap right here, which is collecting just all the climbs it can and all the turf he can get. This map is already yellow for me.
No, absolutely. The armor is going to be a little bit early, so they should have looked at the map right there and realized, hold up, this is going to be a 4v3 situation. We need to pull the armor just for a few more seconds until the opposing team pushes back in with 4 people. As a result, they're not going to have the armor to hold on to this push, and it's going to stop at 56. This torpedo is then going to alert the opposing team to where ENWI is. or Enri, I guess, as we'll call him today.
We call them we, just we.
All right, we're just gonna go with we then. I digress. Yeah, that is going to be the big play that helps get Yeehaw right back in this. The Jing are getting a nice bomb pick again as well. They are going to get another cleanup pick. That is going to be a 3v2 situation on the board. They're going to start tossing clams together. They are going to have to walk through a blob, however, in order to make anything happen, but that Booyah is going to buy just enough space for them to continue to put some points on the board for just a few seconds. They have almost exhausted their point supply, so they go back and collect a few more clams, and guess what? Dualies are going to do what Dualies do, get cheap picks by pressing B to move through enemy ink, and that's exactly what they did. Now Cotton is behind the basket, giving a jump to the power clam. That's a KO!
That was very well played, indeed. I was like a little bit sad because I like him on charger weapons. I'm gonna say sniper because I'm not getting into that argument if Bamboo is a sniper or not. It is a charger nevertheless. This is a topic for the other day. But indeed, given the comp,
it's like a rifle, you know?
Again, it's a charger according to the game. Not gonna get into the argument of a sniper. But I just want to compliment the composition of the yeehaw team, because on that push, I was a little bit sad that they didn't have another clam to make another power, because that would have been even more fast points. But because Kim got splatted trying to throw those clams, Kim got the power clam on the basket and then jump in with the rapid going to the enemy, and that indeed is just showing that even if you get splatted, you still have the power clam in your basket. So like, indeed, it's just team play. Team play is always what's gonna make Clam Blitz one of the best modes of Splatoon when it comes to competitive. And up back pump track, like we saw that even once they get picked with the rapid CDS and K-Pro, it becomes very, very hard for a team with mostly turf, which was like the Gal can still get splats, but the blob and everything else was just like less aggressive than yeehaw. So that's what I mean when it comes to like just in general. They work pretty well with trying to push in and get control of the map and get picks. That's what yeehaw is doing great.
You know, I mean, honestly, I'd like to point out exactly just like how well they executed on that. So they noticed the one mistake. Sometimes at this level, you make one mistake and that's all you need. The armor was just a little bit early. They noticed that, they waited it out and then pushed back in. The moment that the opposing, they were patient. They waited for the time to really collapse in on them. 4 people coming in with specials against people who just exhausted theirs a little bit too early. Now the push is dead. You can scream right into mid and push the neutral as far as you want. Now you can take the engagement in the enemy spawn, and if clams have spawned in mid, you're going to start pushing your own putting your own counter push on the board. That's exactly what they did. Now it's a game of, all right, we go back and collect clams, and once we're at that mode of the push, we start having to make plays to get people further away from the basket so we can start opening up sides of the map so you can continue pushing in to the basket. And it starts becoming a little bit of a information overload, and that's exactly what they did, getting up behind the basket, giving their team the jump. So well executed at the end there by yeehaw. A beautiful 2-1 victory is going to keep them in this set and move them forward just a little bit as they get a full wipe. That's going to open things up on the board for them immediately, as Tower is going to start pushing forward very soon. There it is. The Booyah out in the spawn in just a second. They are going to get a nice cleanup pick on the person trying to open up the left side of the map. The Ray is on the tower, so that Ray is going to start to stall things as far as a pushback in. The missiles on tower, however, with the jump in, that means that Kim has to try to move backwards a little bit sooner. They aren't able to move it past the checkpoint quite yet. Kim is now going to get on tower, but they're going to have to push through this rain. They are going to go down with it. So that is going to be a 3v3 situation on the board. Everything is on the line here, folks. If yeehaw wins this match, then they will win the set and move on. And it looks like the push is finally going to be stopped at 31, but the Booyah is still coming out, so somebody is trying to buy a little bit of space to start making another team fight in that middle section of the match. One down is going to dictate that Chocolate Milk with Ranch can't push forward quite yet. that respawn is going to happen, but unfortunately they tried to push forward just a little bit too early into a 3v4. That is one down as a result. The armor's coming out as well. Now that you're going to have the respawn, Nezzy is going to get the nice pick. And finally, they have the middle portion of the match, but they don't have this whole right side. Oh, just as I speak, the right side is now theirs, and now it's time to start pushing forward and putting some points on the board themselves. Nezzy does go down to Nolan, the pro, making some beautiful moves. At 72, Nolan is going to start trying to open up this whole right side, so now they have to start dictating where they're putting their resources. Do you want to focus on the side? Do you want to focus on the flanks? That is exactly what they do, and it just buys a little bit of time so they can then take the engagement with the backline, and a full wipe effectively is going to buy as much space as they need. But Cotton is going to be a little bit cheeky. He's going to get his teammates right back in. It's going to just buy a little bit of space. Can he survive, or can he get away from this? The lead is going to go away from yeehaw's grasp and into chocolate milk with ranch, but they are going to go down. 4 down. They weren't able to push through that last checkpoint. That is an absolutely huge stop.
That was amazing to see that. Like the push itself, like was just incredible. But the problem is that the specials couldn't stop chocolate with milk. I guess that's the power of ranch. Like it's just like a it's just like a power play. It makes your team stronger at the end. The thing is right here that I seen that Kim is doing mostly with the jet scotch is trying to find a position to raid, but unfortunately with the rain and so much surf underneath the base, it gets pretty hard. They still didn't get the first checkpoint on chocolate milk, so they might have it here an advantage with just one the kick shot alive. It's a 2v1 situation.
But he's exactly where he needs to be, and he gets the important pick. Does he get the double? No! He goes down to Nolan. This is going to be massive. Nolan's possibly going to give his team the lead. He has to try to buy a little bit of space. They have to retake this engagement. He's going to try to retake the engagement, like I just said, on the right side, but he is going to put himself in a bit of a pincer. They're going to collapse on him, and there it is, a full wipe just in time to save the game. Push stopped at 27. They were not able to push through that checkpoint either.
I want to ask Nolan after this when they were about to get, because like, okay, Nolan was riding the tower, but what was in your head when you saw 2 walls in front of you and one of them had a main of sub power up defending it? It's like, I don't know what I would even do in that situation.
Yeah, no, the Booyah is waiting on the right side now as well, so they are in defensive mode, they're in hold mode, so they're going to just try to buy as much space and time on this right side as they possibly can. The Booyah is going to do just that. It is going to pick off 1. That is 2 down on the side of yeehaw, so now they have their backs against the wall with 35 seconds left to go in the match. This push is possibly going to go past the last checkpoint, but the Ray is going to come out and just try to buy as much time as they possibly can. This is a 3v3 on the map. Make that a 3v2. Yeehaw have a man disadvantage. They have to try to fight this one out anyway. 22 seconds left on the match. They do actually get 2 enormous picks right there, but We is going to jump in and get it past the checkpoint. That is the biggest push that we have seen today. But Cotton is going to clean up, get 2 important picks. Now they have to be patient. They have to try to work their way past mid. They have to win every single team engagement in order to win this match. But it is not over yet. The baller is out. They are able to get 1 pick down. That is going to be absolutely enormous to try to buy as much of a pincer as they possibly can to win this next engagement. The Ray coming out as well, but Wee is being a thorn in their side. He's back behind the tower, and this means Cotton has to fall back and watch behind them. Now you have 2 people watching behind them. As a result, the 3 in front are going to do everything they can to scream at tower. Tower is stopped. It has nowhere to go, and just like that, Chocolate Milk with Ranch is going to take the win. 2-2 in the set.
Cotton, he pressed the button for the baller, and it's very hard to jump into the tower with the baller. It's, oh my, no, I felt the pain over there. I felt the pain. Oh, Cotton, but fair, it was a very hard situation. There was so much stuff happening, and Kim was already down. It was just basically Cotton and Nola. They couldn't survive the turf output of the enemy team. It was just amazing. Like, even if they had gotten the first check, the last checkpoint on the previous push, it would have been just amazing. But, oof. That was a close one. This is actually, I think, the best set we're watching, and it's all gonna go down, unfortunately, to a cheesy mode, which is Rainmaker. But Anchovy, Yes, Rainmaker's cheesy. Fight me.
What kind of cheese?
Gouda and American and cheddar all combined.
Oh, you would choose American cheese? Oh,
No, I
dude!
wouldn't. Yeah, no, it's because the mold is bad. The mold is bad. The mold is
Why
bad for
would you-
competitors.
Why would you commit these sins?
Because the mold is bad, so the cheese must be bad.
The mode is great. I love it. What
I
are
love
you talking
using the
about?
Rainmaker, but it's so much cheese and
It's so much fun. I don't like win or lose. It's just fun. It's so fast paced. It is literally the mode in which objective is going to move at the fastest pace because you get to dictate how quickly you want to move objective, and you can move it really fast if you
feel
really
like-
want.
I feel that
Like
if we
it's
ever
at
go,
least Gouda. Okay, it is at least Gouda.
I feel that if we ever play Smash, you were gonna choose Lucas and you're just gonna pick PK freeze on me. Well, I'm a
No.
fucking heavy character.
No, I'm a
But anyway, opinions aside, this is the comps they gone without backline on part of yeehaw, and now Chocolate with Ranch has the Jet Squelcher.
Well, think about it this way, right? They have so much paint. They have amazing mid spacing, and they can try to work a firefight really well in that regard, and try to buy off and speed up the game to a point where the backline can't really keep up. That is
No,
exactly what they're doing. So
They
great.
didn't play backline on the previous match. That's why I think it's so weird. Like on the last match, they bring the backline.
No, for sure. Well, they're trying to shake things up. That pick on the left side is going to be a little bit, but the backline is going to do exactly what the backline does and get a nice cleanup pick on that situation. Buys mid once again for the team. This might be time for them to pick up the Rainmaker. They have to get an important pick here, and they aren't able to do so. The roller is behind them. A nice stop, a double pick with the bombs. Oh, he's going to get picked in midair. Just a little bit of latency. You know, I have to say, it happens. No one's got perfect internet. Heck, people play from across the world. You know, they play across the ocean. Lag's gonna happen. It's unavoidable.
This stream is not sponsored by any VPN services, but if you would like to get a VPN service, it would actually help a lot with lag.
VPN? Whoa,
Yes.
whoa. Wait, don't you mean it would do the opposite?
I don't miss the joke, and I did miss just now. Cotton getting 7 points on this Rainmaker match. It's already a massive lead we're gonna see right here. Just as we saw on the first match with Anchovy getting a big lead, but this time it's actually gonna be a 4v4 instead of a 4v3. Right now with yeehaw getting most likely advancing to the next phase, it is indeed going to be a very difficult spot for Chocolate with Ranch to recover from that.
Yeah, no, sure. This is absolutely a terrible situation for Chocolate Milk with Ranch to be in, right? Because you see this really narrow alley. This is because it's such a thin, narrow part of the map. It's basically going to act as a wall because you can't work two sides and start working pincers through it very well. The best thing you can do is do some sort of area denial, force movement, and try to like force your way through it, but it's not going to do a lot all the time. In fact, in trying to push through, instead of pushing all the way down the alley, exactly what you just saw happen is exactly what happens, and Cotton is going to put himself in a bad situation. He's going to go down to the pop, but Wee is going to have to try to be patient here on the right side. He knows that the other team knows exactly where he is, but they can take this engagement 3v3, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're going to pick up the Rainmaker as slowly as they possibly can. The Booyah coming out, the Ray coming out, trying to buy as much time and space as they possibly can. The Ray is going to get one pick. This is going to be the wall that they're stopped at, however. This is the part of the map that's so incredibly difficult to push through. You know, the juniors with their bombs are going to do amazing work in just stalling this area of the map as hard as they possibly can. Kim, as a result, is just going to move it right on out of there through the left side, and, you know, yeah, that's how the push ends. You just run into a wall, and somebody's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna take the Rainmaker and run away with it." And yep, there comes the rain. It's kind of a little consolation prize for that.
I do, yeah, like Kim played very nice. I was scared of those missiles. They were gonna be on the Rainmaker as well, but apparently they didn't land on the Rainmaker, even if, because like once the shield is still up, you can still use it just to paint around the Rainmaker. But the mini actually was just aiming at the people close to the spawn. And with the flings popping up right here, get 2 people, right? Damn!
Yeah, gets 2 people immediately. Those are enormous picks, but he has to get a third. He gets the trade. That's an effective triple. 1 respawning. Make that the original. 2 respawning. The bomb spacing is going to come out as a result. They're going to try to stall as hard as they can for just a few seconds, but the Ray is going to say, nah, just get out of there. Just if you stay up there, it's not going to be good for you. Nolan is eventually going to fall back as a result. They are going to get the pick by stalling as much as they can on this left side after the drop, and they will do so successfully. It is a 1-for-1 on the board. We having to fall back out of that engagement as well. The wall isn't going to help him there, however. The roll is going to come in and get a nice pick, and they don't really have to force the issue here. They have the lead, and it's a really, really good lead. They can now focus on really just taking out as many of the opponent's resources as possible. So force those jets. Don't take engagements that you absolutely need to take that are super, super, super risky. Just make sure that if you start losing an engagement, just back up for 10, 15 feet and retake the engagement, because objective is in mid. You can play around objective. That's exactly what they're going to do. 2v2 on the board. As a result, this is much more manageable. Bomb spacing is going to dictate that both teams will be able to get back in. Nobody's going to make any forward progress yet. That's exactly what Yeehaw needs. So any amount that they can slow down Chocolate Milk with Ranch is going to help a lot. That's why you see the Ray coming out early, and it is able to get a pick that's going to be absolutely immense. But is it going to be enough? No!
The missiles picks the Rainmaker on arcade. The recoil of the Rainmaker was their downfall, and now we're seeing Yeehaw go to the next group of the tournament.
Was an awesome set. Yeah. That was great. That was absolutely wonderful. And on that note, Yeehaw is going to move forward through winner's bracket, and Chocolate Milk with Ranch are unfortunately going to have to take the L. We'll see what happens in losers.
No, there's no losers. This is single elim.
That's a single elim. That's right.
This is single elim. But
I'm thinking of the
old one. But we just want to say that we are also gonna drop from now together with Chocolate Ranch. We're gonna swap commentary now, but not just one, not just through, but with 3 amazing people. Those being Miss K-Bot, Magic, and Risa. So be here, and stay with us. We are going away, but the tournament is still gonna go on. Astro, do you have any last words you like to tell them?
I absolutely do. I've got one last talking point to bring up for you guys. Please check out all of Inkling's Performance Labs tournaments this month, namely Testing Ground 16. It is this Friday at 8 p.m. EDT or 5 p.m. PDT. Testing Grounds is IPL's bi-weekly tournament that runs a Swiss into a top cut format. This week they will be doing a return of zones only. So if you want to see objective sitting squarely in the middle of the map, if you are new to watching competitive or you're lower mid-level, maybe you want to watch it to try to learn a thing or two about just a few concepts that you can then take into understanding more modes that are a little bit more complex. That's definitely a way to watch. Absolutely. Be sure to sign up and or join our Discord for more information at iplabs.inc/discord.
Yes, and I am gonna be signing off. You guys have seen my Twitter. I don't have any more messages, I can tell. So yeah, this is gonna be it for me. Astro is also, the Twitter is on the screen, and we'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Swim or Sink 27. My name is K-Bot, and we've got a TriCast tonight. This should be a fun one. I'm joined by Rissa and Magic. We'll start with Rissa. Rissa, how you doing tonight?
I am doing very well. Thank you for asking, K-Bot. I hope you're doing well as well this Wednesday evening.
Yeah, Wednesday. It feels weird because I've completely lost track of time after being out of classes now for a week. So that's about where I'm at. Magic, how about you? Has your semester? I think your semester's finished up, right?
So today I submitted my second to last final. I am going to be done this Friday. So yeah, I'm basically smooth sailing right now, and I'm having a great night.
Awesome, sounds good. Well, it's been a great night for some Splatoon as well. And we're going to be getting into that here in a minute. This semifinal between Azure and Friends. I'm going to be honest, a lot of us friends with the people on Azure. Ironically, not friends with the team named Friends, per se. But we'll do our best to try to keep this as unbiased as possible. Looking at the maps here, starting on Splatzone's Wahoo World. Rissa, what is this map known for?
Oh, this map and mode together are definitely known for having... Once one team gets control of the zone, it's going to be really difficult, potentially, for the other team to get out, depending on what specials and weapons we see. And as we start the match here, Magic, what are you seeing with these weapons?
Well, we do see Pika with the classic on the blob, Noob on the bubbles, so we're going to be seeing some very special heavy area controlling explosive specials on the side of Azure, but we also see the blob on the side of Friends as the two teams are starting to go to the zone here. Inkjet already popped on the side of Azure, and the first cap going over to the A9 squad and getting the first pick as well. I'm also seeing a lot of paint on the side of Friends besides that Gluga Dualies, which is a very unpopular, uncommon pick, but it seems to be working out pretty well for them right now as they do get one down on the side of Azure. But now it seems like they've got good control, and the Friends is jumping out, and K-Bot, it's looking like Azure is taking control of the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, doing a very good job so far of taking that control. As we're seeing this come out, you see Noob starting to push up a little bit further, has those bubbles at the ready as well. Probably going to try to shut down this push, and the Armor's going to try to come in. You notice this engagement coming in from Friends. They're going to try to make a blitz for the zone, and they're going to find it immediately. A 2-down situation on Azure. The other two members are a little bit split up, and we imagine they're going to go down here in a moment. So Friends with a very nice engagement and a very nice retake.
Oh, and they did such a good retake there, and then unfortunately the Gluga's on the side of Friends DC'd, so I don't know what the DC rules are if we got far enough into the match. Do either of you guys know?
I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a replay. If not, it could be because they go down to 50, but I'm almost positive that most IPL rulings say the match timer has to be 2.5 minutes, and the team has to go down to 30. The match score has to go down below 30, if I remember correctly. But feel free to correct me.
So current rules that I'm reading on the Battlefy page are less than 2 minutes left, or if one team is 50 units closer to a knockout. So I don't know. I mean, we're probably going to see a replay here anyway. It was early enough into the game that I think, both these teams are just going to say, all right, you know what, we'll just replay it. We'll ignore that happen. But, while we've got a little bit, while that's kind of figuring out, one of the things that I'm interested to watch overall is a little bit of this blobber duel, right? Isaac is on the side of Friends this time around. Obviously has been playing the blob for a very long period of time. Pika has kind of been flexing around with multiple different weapons, typically has that flavor of the month. Seems to be settled on the blob this time around. So Rissa, I don't know if you could shed a little bit more light in terms of kind of what this weapon really wants to do and what it likes to do overall.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that too. As soon as I saw Pika, and then I looked at Isaac, and I was like, wait a second, these are two blob mains. And they're going to be... Yeah, Spider-Man meme moment. They're going to be against each other. So the blob, it's going to be used to push the other team around and also assist with teammates and getting chip damage kills. So not only is the main weapon of the blob good at doing that, but the specials that the blob have are good at doing that as well. So good at getting chip damage with the rain, or if you're using the bomb rush variant of the blob, it gets bomb rush really, really fast, and those bomb rushes can constantly be helping out their teammates. Now, also looking at the other weapons on Friends specifically, really interesting weapons there. Magic, did you notice that too? The orange zap and the glugas?
Right, yeah. So the orange zap is something that a lot of people will see as, you know, maybe sometimes inferior to the K-shot, which is what we traditionally see in that like sort of supportive missile spamming role. And the glugas, I mean, we haven't really seen anybody too high level picking those up as of recently. I know Dylan used to for a little while, but those can be really long-range aggressive weapons, which a very surprising kill time, and with aggressive specials like we see with the Inkjet and like we see with the Baller variations, it can be a pretty high-pressure weapon in the right hands and with the right composition, and with the H3 and the Blob and the NZAP to all paint its feet, help keep it mobile, and help keep it get chip damage for it, which really helps it out because of the damage thresholds, especially when it's not rolled. It's actually, I could see that composition working out really well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are getting word in right now, it appears, as though Azure will be taking game 1, as, you know, they didn't have to replay that. The objective was pushed past the 15-point mark, and so Azure is going to go ahead and take that game. They'll go up 1-0 in the series overall, and that will certainly get them a little bit further ahead. We'll have to see if Friends will be wishing for that one back as we take a little bit of moving forward here. We're going to be heading now to Clam Blitz on the Reef coming up next, where, you know, these blobs certainly going to be a little bit chaotic, putting out a ton of paint. I imagine we're probably not going to see the Glugas, though, you know, opting for something perhaps a little bit more mobile, opting for something that can probably, you know, paint the map a little bit more, because that map control, Rissa, on Clam Blitz is so vitally important.
Yeah, map control on Clam Blitz, and especially on the Reef, is really important. The one thing I've really learned about Clam Blitz on the Reef in particular is the flanks are so important. If you don't paint those up, then someone can easily be sharking on those flanks, or easily be able to drop out a spawn on the left side and just, you know, be able to shark in flanks like that. So it's really important, like you said, to have map control. Not even just on the bridge. The bridge, of course, is really important on the Reef, but also the sides of the map are really, really important because flanks can be really deadly. Now, Magic, about the Reef, what do you think about the blobs being on the Reef? What's gonna happen?
Oh, I don't see Pika switching off of it. I see Pika sticking with it because it can be used really well in those long flat areas, especially leading up to the basket. They can be used to bounce off the walls, keep things under control, and especially because of how the verticality on this map can be with those raised areas. We see it on we saw it on Humpback as well. You know, we were watching the stream watching Pika's stream before this, and in Humpback it's that similar situation where underneath the basket tossing up blob shots is very, very effective in K-Bot. We do see the specials getting started to get popped here in the mid, and what do you see going on right now?
One of the interesting things that I'm noticing so far, Gator is getting subbed in for Friends in place of, I believe that was Legend there on those Glugas. So having an additional zap this time around is going to help them paint the map just a little bit more. And now we're starting to see them build up a little bit of momentum here as it's 3-down situation for Azure. The map almost entirely green. They're going to start moving on forward and dumping their clams in the basket. The Gator going down here is going to be able to pop the armor before getting in, but a lot less map control here in this situation for Friends. It's going to be Azure coming back in and taking care of business after going only 2 power claims in the basket.
Yeah, in the first at the first start of this match, Friends getting a nice starting push, able to get it down to 60, which is definitely a good start to this. But there are still about 4 more minutes left of this match. So Azure here is painting up through mid. It looks like they got decent bridge control here, and as Mudcup is pushed up here, looks like you can see that they're working together to get a power clam. These bubbles are really, really good for Mudcup to hide in to be able to throw in that power clam. And they do just that. But now there's 3 down on Azure, and that's a complete wipe. So it looks like Magic, it looks like Friends is going to have the potential to have another pushback.
Does. I was really unfortunate with Noob going down to that suction bomb on that little lip near that box, and it ended up just collapsing the entire push. But now we see Happy on the H3 here, pressuring both this alleyway and the run up to the basket through this ramp. The armor getting popped, and unfortunately Azure's going to be able to wait it out. They're pushing back in with an armor of their own now, trying to corral this green team into the left courtyard here. The Inkjet coming out as well as a bomb rush, and this could spell disaster for Friends. But Gator gets a beautiful pick with this H3. That's 2 going down on the side of Friends overall. Gator getting out alive, but there's a lot of orange paint on the map right now, and Toxic Mist coming in as well as Toast try and make a move, but unfortunately going to go down.
Good news for Gator to try to save that power clam. Going to go down immediately after, and now all of a sudden 2-down situation once more, and it looks like Azure's going to go on the offensive here with those bubbles coming in from Noob. Here comes a power clam as well. But there's no other clams on the map for Azure right now. Toast is going to try to come around and swing from the other side to get a couple more in. But it's going to go down to the process, and they still have not gotten a sufficient push in order to net themselves the lead so far. Just haven't seen that total clan build up. And they're trying to take these small opportunities to turn them into something, but they're not getting those picks necessary to really start snowballing things out of control.
Yeah, and you could see that they did get the picks that they needed, Azure did. And right now, too, looks like they got a pick on Gator. They've got this other pick on the orange zap, so Azure's doing a really good job. They get a 3rd one down, so it's just Isaac left on Friends. You can see Mudcup here trying to find clams as this junior. Pops armor, so that way Azure can start their push. And Azure is going to do just that. Mudcup doing a great job at sneaking in through Noob's bubbles there. And now Azure is going to continue scoring clams here. They have the lead on their side.
A fantastic coordinated push from the side of Azure, and again we see their superior pick power is going to be able to net them the wipe and the game just from that one push. We saw the bubbles and the armor get popped at the same time. We saw Mudcup traveling with Noob this time, but we also saw Toast on that Inkjet as those bubbles were coming in as well. So I think Toast found a pick earlier on and was able to make his way in from the other side, and that 2-pronged attack was just unstoppable on the side of Friends.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that there was no pressure applied to those bubbles whatsoever. I mean, there were 2 members from Azure sitting there throwing clams in the basket, and there was just hardly any pressure getting applied there at the end of the game, and eventually it's going to cost them, I suppose. All it takes is, one solid push strung together for your team, especially capitalizing off of the mistakes that perhaps you made. I mean, it was only a matter of time, in my opinion, right? Both those teams looked very overzealous, tipping the tide of that game back and forth, trying to go from, getting pushed on, being on the defense to immediately going on the offense in one push rotation. Probably not the best idea. You're probably going to want to try to build up those clans on the map, build up that map control as well. The game was very volatile for that reason, and it seems as though Azure is just going to capitalize that at the end. They're going to go up 2-0 already in this set. So we're now heading on to Tower Control Inkblot Art Academy, which should be very interesting, especially given how volatile and how it appears is how far forward these teams really want to play here, Rissa.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really fun to watch just because Tower Control and Inkblot, when you can get up in that back area called the bats, it could be really, really detrimental to the other team. So with the way that both of these teams were playing, you could see that they were really playing off of, when they would get picks, that they would push up and be really aggressive. So I'm excited to watch the way that these teams play this, especially with both teams having a blob. So as the teams come out here, I am noticing Friends actually having Gator switching to the Kenta shot, and then they have a splash as well on their side. So as we start out into this match, Magic, what do you think?
I like the transition here from Gator. I think he needs to be on a little bit more of an aggressive weapon, especially because we saw in the last game they had 2 N-Zaps and they weren't really getting around much. They weren't able to put on much pressure, but Gator already showing off the power of this pick, getting a triple early on to catch the positioning of Azure quite off sides. And now they're already up in that bats area. You see the Splash-O-Matic and the H3 already putting on so much pressure there. Unfortunately, the Splash-O-Matic going down, but this push is going on a roll already because of this bomb rush. Going to be able to prevent them from jumping onto this tower right then. 2 going down again for Azure, and it looks like they just don't have the specials and the manpower to stop this. Noob trying to come in with the bubbles, but it might not be enough if there's nobody able to back it up, and their tower is still moving. They finally get one down. They get the blob as well, able to take out their pseudo anchor for right now. Noob gonna clean this one up with Toast, and finally this Azure puts a stop to this push. K-Bot, what did you see there?
Ooh, things were looking a little bit scary, especially with how much map control that Friends did end up having there onto the Azure plat. But we'll have to see what the response is here, especially now as they're even starting to go on the aggressive already. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Look at how far Pika's pushed up already, trying to get as much control of this bats area as possible that we were talking about a little bit earlier. But looks like it'll go down to the process. Doesn't have a lot of in control up there. 2-down situation for Azure, and this push is going to collapse in on itself. That's exactly one of the things I was afraid about last time from Friends. We'll have to see how far forward they're willing to extend and how much Azure can try to punish any missteps.
Yeah, it's really interesting, with both teams having a blob player. For Friends, they're having Isaac the blob ride the tower, while the Azure did the opposite, had Mudcup riding the tower. So I love Isaac doing a really good job at just kind of juggling the tower here, making sure that he doesn't die. Popped bomb rush to help his teammates push up into the bats area. And now Azure really trying to figure out a way to get to tower. Like you had mentioned before when they were pushing, they don't really have specials to be able to stop the tower, so Azure trying to figure out how to get in a position to stop the tower, and then finally they do just that. They pop armor, they're going to pop bubbles into mid, and Toast is going to use this Inkjet here to help Azure be able to push back into mid.
The really dicey push again on the side of Friends. I mean, in terms of Azure's defense, it looked like they just didn't have anything together for whatever Friends brought at them. Fortunately, they're trying to break through this first checkpoint now, and they're successfully able to do so as Noob uses these bubbles offensively one more time. We see Toast with the Inkjet, and now we see Pika taking a bit more of a backwards approach, but unfortunately getting taken down at the bottom of the map, and Noob alone in the higher elevation, and is going to be taken down from going too high. Azure looks like they are just very uncoordinated with these pushes right now. It seems like they're leaving members alone. They're taking a lot of 1v1 fights, especially like we saw Pika in the mid there, and we saw Noob up in the top area, as well as Pika the last time they pushed in that same spot that Noob was, and they just seems like they don't have like the positioning that they need to right now, K-Bot.
I completely agree. I think, one of the things, I don't think Azure's going to get mad at me for saying this, but to be honest, I think Friends is probably going to be the more mechanically skilled players. If that's the case, you don't want to be taking a lot of these 1v1s that we're seeing Azure go for right now. They were so spread up as they were trying to go for that push, so spread apart on opposite sides of the map. If they just try to sweep through and use their team coordination, which is what gets them here most of the time in the first place, I think that's going to be what we're going to have to, one of their keys to victory in order to get past the second checkpoint and then down to that 28-point mark, but only 60 seconds left to go. And the other thing that they're missing out on is paint. So much of this map has been yellow for such a long period of time. It's going to be interesting to see what Azure can try to do to get back in here, but already some of them are starting to go down.
Yeah, they are, and right now, oh my goodness, as Pika there tried to call out the Splash member, Friends there, gets called out himself, and now Friends in another good position. Like you said, they do have a lot of map control. The Kensa shot farming for missiles, the Splash, and the H3, and a Blob doing a really great job. And oh my gosh, what just happened there? Oh my gosh, a complete wipe. Wow. The paint that Friends has is just allowing them to really be able to call out the members of Azure here. And it looks like this is going to be game here as we go into the last 5 seconds of this. Friends is going to take their first game of the set here. Azure trying to rush to the tower, and they do that! Oh my gosh, they do that! And oh my gosh, K-Bot, what do you see going on right now?
Gonna be able to find it, but we're gonna have to see if they can hold on to things for the time being. Bomb Rush getting popped by Pika as they're gonna try to roll on forward here. It's a 1-down situation right now, and Azure has plenty of control. It looks like Gator trying to set up on the right side. Pika going down on the front lines though here. The aggressive blob is gonna be down. Now Gator trying to make the offensive, gonna take down Noob. Muncup's the last one alive on the tower, and it's gonna get taken down as well. Friends is gonna hold on to the game and send us to another game 4.
Wow.
K-Bot, I didn't think I was gonna be able to. As soon as I saw people go down, I thought this can't be happening. Azure can't pull this off, right? And they looked like they were about to. They had the right positions that time, but unfortunately, Gator with that beautiful flank was gonna be able to put a stop to it.
And at the end of the day, it's a lot of what this is about. It's about the element of surprise, right? You're not going to expect someone coming up from step from that angle. You're just going to expect people to start feeding in from directly from spawn. And that's one of the reasons why Inkblot can be such a snowbally map, is because people are just jumping in from spawn because they think that's the best vantage point. But Gator coming in on the side, beautifully taking out Pika there and starting to apply pressure on tower. A couple other members coming in from spawn, and all of that was set up beautifully on the defensive there, catching their perhaps overzealous, celebration party in mid that they thought that they had previously won the game. But Ressa up next, we're heading to another very blitz-heavy map on Rainmaker Snapper Canal.
We are. This is gonna be really fun to watch. I mean, too, because Rainmaker on Snapper, it can be really stally when the Rainmaker gets in the left-hand corners, the far left, when a team starts trying to push the left side on their left side. So it can get really, really stally. So with what we just saw in that last match, it's making me really excited to see what these teams bring to this. And I'm so used to seeing Sea Jets on this map and mode. So I'm kind of excited to watch this without a Sea Jet and just see what the blobs can do as the anchor, quote unquote anchors.
You say that, but Gator is in the lobby. Okay, so you could potentially see both Blob and Sea Jet in the game. I don't know. We've known Gator to flex over there. What do you think about that kind of a long range situation, Magic?
It's not the craziest composition I've seen, and I've seen a lot of crazy compositions in my time, so it makes a little bit of sense, especially when you think about the wide nature of this map mode and how valuable Stingray can be, especially with the prevalence of armor that we've been seeing in this set. But unfortunately, Gator is not going to opt for the Sea Jet. We are going to see a vanilla no Stingray Rainmaker match as for the game 4 of this top 4 SOS set, as the team is starting out. Noob still on that squeezer, can be using those bubbles for another special team coordinated push to make sure that Azure always has the upper hand when they need to. And Rissa, here comes another flank by the Splashomatic.
Yeah, the splash flanking immediately, and I love that they're utilizing the way that Gator is pushing up, so that way they were able to team up on that flank. But Toast there with that Inkjet, ready to stop the flank, ready to stop that, and now Friends got a decently good push up and through mid there, getting their points to 41, but Azure doing a really good job at being on the defense. It looks like Azure now has the Rainmaker, and they're going to push it on that left side. So let's see K-Bot, if they can push it up past this.
Yeah, we'll have to see. One of the things I want to go back on real quick, if anyone was able to take a clip or catch exactly how Toast was able to shut down that Rainmaker, the most important part was the paint in front of the path the Rainmaker was trying to take. Absolutely critical to try to shut things down, and just one of the reasons why paint is so valuable. But Mudcup's starting to sprint in alone. Noob is going on the front lines here. It looks like they're going to be able to hop on top here and able to take the lead, take it down to the 28-point mark. So despite the fact that they sacrificed 3 members, they were able to take this lead. Now, 28, not necessarily the most comfortable push, but it's a lead nonetheless, Magic.
Holy cow, look at how fast this Friends team is moving out. They put so much paint on the map already, because look at how their paint heavy composition works. They accelerate their gameplay because of the paint and because of their just fast movement in general, and especially when they can get picks like Happy just did right there. They get 2 down, and it's already looking like it's going to be a blue lead coming in as we see Gator and Happy getting a great 2v1 here. Isaac trying to hop through the green paint and is able to get the lead just barely, but this push isn't over yet because Gator and Happy are able to team up and find the 2v1s, the 2 1v1s, in order to get this Rainmaker to at least stay here for a little bit. The Blob jumps in and is going to be able to pop that Rainmaker, probably, and it does, but nobody on Azure goes down. Finally, the Blob gets one, but Azure is able to take away this Rainmaker before it gets dunked. That was ridiculous, Rissa.
That was insane. The jumps in to Gator, the missiles that Gator popped to help stall it out that much longer. Finally, Mudcup there, able to yoink the Rainmaker and just take it away from that chaos. Take it over here on the left side. So now Mudcup trying to stall out the Rainmaker here. We see missiles come out from Friends and armor as well. So the missile and armor combo is really helping the Splash player here push up, act aggressively. The specials are just so great. And wow, getting crucial picks in order to be able to push this. So it looks like Friends here is going to take the Rainmaker through this left side instead of pushing through mid. They know that they have the lead right now, and the longer they can possibly stall it out, the better. Though their lead is not huge, so anything could happen in this Rainmaker match, K-Bot.
Going on to this side to stall this out, and a very popular tactic we see here. That Rainmaker, though, going down. Looks like there's still plenty of blue ink, so plenty of Friends squids in the area. They're going to be able to take this one down, and they're just going to be very content to protect this area, much like it's a Splat Zone's lockout. Actually, never mind. Looks like Isaac's going to come in here, pick this one up, and actually opt to take it even further away from their opponent's objective. We'll just have to see how much further that they can take this out. But yeah, go back to that engage. That engage was brilliant. Actually, wait a minute. Isaac jumping down. Might be trying to get a couple more points on the board here, trying to capitalize on a one-down situation. Now, Crossfire from Mudcup going to be able to extend this lead by only 1 point. Mudcup, though, going down right on top of this Rainmaker, but it looks like Azure is going to go ahead and pick this one up and try to get this one away. Taking it over to the other side, actually, where there might be a little bit more breathing room. Toast is able to step forward, get one, but it's a 2-down situation for Friends right now. They're not fully able to secure the Rainmaker, and now perhaps finally they've been able to do that. Now that all the Friends members have been cleared out, we'll just have to see how far this goes. This could potentially be their last push of the game here, Magic, especially if Friends gets their hands on the Rainmaker again.
Oh, and Noob is already going down early, and that's going to be a huge detriment to this push. That's one of their main pushing specials, and Pika looked like just stepped a little too far forward with that Rainmaker, and here comes the Friends. But luckily for Azure, instead of waiting until the 20-second mark to go down, they go down now and are probably going to be able to build specials at least a little bit and try and gain back the room that they need, but specials are coming online for Friends instead as well. The Rainmaker does go down. Is that Toast able to find a way in? Able to get another one down as well. It's 2 down for Friends. The Splash-O-Matic jumps in, jumps back, but the Bomb Rush is able to pop the Rainmaker. Noob, unfortunately, going down, but the bubbles that he put out the last second are going to be able to take down Isaac. 2 members up for Azure, and there's one sharking right by the Rainmaker, ready to pick it up at the last possible moment, or shark on it. Azure is not going to be able to find the Rainmaker, and that is the game going to Friends.
Wow.
We're down.
Oh, go ahead, K-Bot.
Down to a game 5 here is going to be what Friends takes us to, and that little bit of a nail biter. And at the end of the day, there was such limited mobility that really Azure had nowhere to move at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way that I think it was really helpful that Gator is playing the Orange Zap, which is known, for being able to get a lot of missiles. And Gator constantly paying for those missiles along with Junior, a Splash, and a Blob. I mean, that map control they had was just absolutely insane and was really, really letting them be able to do a lot on that.
No, I agree completely.
Now for one final map. It's 2-2 between these two squads. We're on a game 5. Splat Zones on Sturgeon Shipyard. I can't imagine we're going to see that much variety in the two compositions here. These teams seem pretty confident and pretty happy with the way things are going overall. And it's just going to be who's going to have the better time on, this. I don't know. What do I call this to make fun of everyone? Is this the most fair mode? Or does this feel like the most fair mode? I don't know. Whatever.
It's the JP mode, haha, funny, and I'm just gonna lead us in because it is game 5. Go big or go home for SOS 27. Cat made. Put your Nas in the chat. We do not see much variation in terms of the compositions except for Toast going with the Sloshing Machine Kensa variant. And that is a huge upgrade, as well as a lot of long-range potential because of those fizzy bombs being able to spam those Fizzies. But K-Bot, this is looking like it's going to be Friends' first fight going for their favor.
Absolutely. One of the things I also want to take into consideration here is paint control. We've seen Friends largely have that so far, and now with Toast on the Kenson machine, it's going to be even more difficult for Azure to really control that amount of paint when they get to these, tricky mid situations. And I think that's a large part of what we're seeing right now. Isaac already in position, putting on so much pressure with this Blobber here. He's able to take down one, catch Toast off guard, which means they're going to have to delay this further. Now getting Pika in this Blob Ditto match so far, and right now we're just seeing a very strong hold take place coming in from Friends here. Riss, is there anything Azure could do, especially now that Mudcup's down?
That's a really good question. They don't have the paint the painter up. They won't be able to have armor that fast. We see Isaac popping the bomb rush over the special that Azure is trying to bring in. So you can see the zone right now tilting back and forth, but Friends is going to be able to cap the zone over that. There's 3 down on Friends though right now. Toast is trying so hard to paint the zone, and unfortunately with that Kensa sloshing machine is not able to paint it. So game 5 is going to be going to Friends. Wow.
Isaac! Can you calm down and stop being the MVP for like a minute? Jeez! The 2 crazy picks that he got while he was up lobbing things over top left while he was on snipe, and then popping the bubbles defensively to not only shut down the bubbles push, but then turn to the left and shut down Pika's push with the rain and the wall on the left side of zone, and just hold everything together long enough for this team to maintain and trade out so that they could keep hold of the zone for just long enough. That was ridiculous. That was beautiful gameplay.
Absolutely. I mean, it was fantastic. They're coming in from Friends. And I think one of the things here overall, and, one of the things maybe to keep in the back of your head, those picks by Isaac were absolutely critical in staggering the respawn timers of Azure, right? As we're thinking about that overall. Because at the end of the day, once one member goes down, that means their engaged power, their 3v4 matchup isn't going to be as favored. Like I said, especially when you're going into potentially more mechanically skilled players. And so, that's one of the things that Azure just didn't have. They didn't have the ability to wait for all 4 members to be up at the same time. But then especially once Mudcup went down, they didn't have the engage threat with that ink armor coming in as well. It was almost over. And then, of course, we saw it there at the very end. Toast trying so desperately to paint the map. I think it was even a 2v1 in terms of painting, but it just wasn't quite enough to fully combat that. And didn't have enough time to do so. And so Friends going to take this set, hang on, and move on, where they are going to be going up against Meowss in the grand finals.
I just want to say, I didn't even hear the closet door open, but now it's just staring me in the face with this broom coming at me. I just...
Oh, okay. All right.
Marissa, what do we know about these teams?
Did you have your back turned? Then you reversed yourself to see the broom in the closet?
Thank you, K-Bot. Thank you.
Out.
Thank you.
Anyway, Rissa, why don't you tell us a little bit about Meowss? Because I think you know one of the players on here very well.
Yes, as we can see, one of them named Rissa's wife. That is going to be Steffi. So Steffi, of course, a great support player. She plays famously the mini Splatling. Very, very good with the mini Splatling, excuse me. Very great at supporting their teammates, getting missiles constantly. I'm not sure who Meow Mega is.
Omega.
Not sure who that is. Oh, Omega, duh. The cat names are throwing me.
No.
Okay, Omega. I'm guessing that's Omega, the Carbon Roller. And then Shadowwind and Madness, of course, very strong and well-known players as well. So this is a great pickup, and that they've gotten this far in the tournament. I'm excited to see what they can bring.
Yeah, I mean, should be a good one here overall. Of course, expect Omega probably going for the Carbon pick, Madness probably going for the Nautilus, and then it's going to be really about, how much can Steffi and Shadow paint the map to enable Omega, to enable Madness, and try to see what comes out of that. And meanwhile, of course, we saw on the other side of the map what Friends can do. In terms of their composition, they're really looking for the maximum amount of paint possible, because at the end of the day, their paint output appears to be unmatched, Magic.
I think it's going to be interesting, especially if we see Shadow decide to pull out Tent. I think that could be an interesting way to try and counteract that paint-oriented gameplay by, using things like the shield and things like bubbles to sort of force back any kind of paint, like create a wall for the paint, you know what I mean? So that could be an interesting way to combat it, but I really don't see a mini Splatling in a Nautilus having a fun time against the paint-heavy 4-shooter, 3-shooter composition that we've been seeing from Friends thus far.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, gonna have to see exactly what comes of the rest of this. How about Rissa? Since we've got a little bit more time, can you explain like how this whole wife thing happened? Like, I mean, congrats on getting married, but like, how did you two meet? How did you two decide to propose? What was that all like? Did you go on a honeymoon? How did that all come out for you?
That's a good question. I think, it originally started because we're both in the Plus server, which is a pickup, quote-unquote high-level pickup server, and we just were, like, messing with people in there, and then it turned into, us quote-unquote dating, and then it turned into us getting married in a scrim, and I don't know, it's just turned into what it is, and now we are officially married, so that's kind of where we're at.
So it's all happened in a blur, is what I mean.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been so fast. You know what?
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
We haven't gone on our honeymoon yet. We're still looking for the perfect location.
Darn, that's unfortunate. So, I mean, isn't there a saying about, or no, that's what it is. Why could I not think of this a second ago? I am brain farts galore right now. Time flies when you're having fun, or something like that. Or there's got to be some iterations like time flies when you're spending time with someone you love or something. That's probably just how it works.
It's very true.
Yeah. So anyway, maps on the screen right now for the best of 7. We should be getting into this momentarily. We're starting Clam Blitz on Mako Bard, and I'm gonna be honest. I've been feeling, there's a potential that if Friends really leans into their whole controlling the map, thing that we've seen from them so far, I got a feeling that they can take this pretty well here, Magic.
This is one map in particular where there's going to be a Ledge Demon, and he's going to slap all of them in the face, and so I'm prepared for that. Unless Omega really doesn't pick Carbon here. Yeah, okay, never. I'm actually predicting that Meowss wins this purely based off of that, and purely based because Omega's just the most cracked Carbon I've ever seen. Rissa, starting out, we already see a few little frame drops, but Omega trying to move in here and getting taken out by a chicken instantly.
Yeah, and with that, there's another pick there on the side of Friends. So right now, as both teams come into mid here, there are now 2 down on the side of Friends here. So Meow's doing a really good job at working together to push up and get the picks. And I think it's also really interesting to point out that Friends now not only has 1 orange zap, but they have 2 orange zaps. So that's tons of paint and tons of missiles. But let's see, as the match starts out here, Meowss has now opened up the basket and got 20 points in here, but their basket's going to close up, not a very big lead, and now there's 2 down on the side of Meowss, as Friends is going to be able to push up here and try and get their own push in, K-Bot.
That's one of the things, I don't know, I was shaking my head when I was watching all of that. I'm not going to lie to you folks. In my opinion, you're spreading out your resources when you start going for those kinds of solo pushes where you're getting 1 power claim in the basket at a time. Probably better, try to save that power claim for a future time if you can really be able to. So unfortunately there for Meowss, not going to be able to have that resource at their disposal. And now it's 2 up for Friends as they start to push in here towards the middle. Gator's going to get another one here, making it 3-down situation. Omega's going to try to come in from the side here, but as long as there's enough paint kept over in that direction, we're going to see a couple more clams get scored into the basket for Friends. They're going to take it down to the 68-point mark very early in this match, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far out of Friends.
I am liking what I'm seeing out of Friends as well. The double missile composition on this map in particular is just, it's such a close quarters map where there's so many tight, narrow hallways that the missiles are just super duper effective, and having 2 of them was a really good call on Friends' part. Then they've been able to just nullify this Carbon at every single stop, and already they're getting another 2 down situation because of the combination of Omega and Shadow going down, and then there goes Madness, and all of a sudden it's Steffi alone trying to fend off the yellow wave coming towards them. Here comes the bombs and the bomb rush. And again, a chicken getting another kill while I'm on commentary. I am so sorry to the people on Meowss.
Oh my gosh, and double the auto bombs there. So, Friends still scoring clams in. We see Happy there underneath the baskets, getting a few more clams in there. Now backing up into mid. Madness there trying to take on Happy. The two of them trade, so now Omega on the carbon roller here trying to figure out how they can push up, you know. Meowss needs to get some map control. They have 17 clams at the ready, so Omega going to use this Autobomb rush to hopefully push back members of Friends. We saw missiles go off from Meowss as well, and the armor. So with all those specials, they haven't quite got any picks yet. Omega gonna go down though to another Autobomb. Oh my goodness, so many Autobomb kills happening here. And now this is leading Friends to get in another good position to get a push going.
So there are two things I've learned so far. One, I've learned that apparently cats hate chickens. You know, I didn't know that heading into today, but here we are so far. Looks like, though, we are going to see another push coming from Meowss, and I'll hold my second in sight for a little bit later. Omega going to try to get a couple more claims to the basket, but now all of a sudden, where was their map control that they had coming into this barrier? It looks like Madness going to try to step on a little bit further forward, and now we're just a couple points away, but with Steffi going down there on stacks, looks like that's going to be the end of this push here, and they're going to need to regroup in order to come back in here. But at the end of the day, they're going to need to try to Omega this one right here. Omega can only do so much when he's not in a bunch of blue ink, and is going to go down here and getting taken down, soloed out on that other side. Looks like right now Friends have a firm hold of mid. We'll see if they can hold on to it for another 60 seconds.
And let's see if they do. This is kind of the critical point. If you can't get a push going in this last minute here, it's going to all come crumbling down. And we see Friends opening up the basket. It doesn't look like they have anybody in position to keep it going. Shadow already holding on to the pity clams they had. A clam was on its way in, but getting shut down just at the last moment. This orange ends up putting up a little bit of resistance for Shadow, but here comes the last 30 seconds, and Rissa, it looks like Meowss has everything that they need. They've got the claims, they've got the specials, but unfortunately, Madness trades out. But what are you going to see to try and go into this last minute?
Yeah, you were right. They did have the armor ready. You could see Shadow here trying to hold the clam with the armor ready. So we see as Omega and Madness went down here, it looks like Meowss has backed up a little bit to try and regroup. Shadow gonna use that armor, and that's gonna help Omega get a pick, but Omega goes down as well. So now there's only one member up left of Friends. It's Gator, and Gator actually scored that clam in there. So now Meowss has to figure out how they can rush to the other side in overtime to try and score this clam. We saw Rissa, Steffi up there trying to get in a position to throw the clam in. And unfortunately, it looks like Steffi was called out, and that is going to be the end of Meow's push. Oh my gosh, I was just reading the name. I was going to read out Rissa's wife.
There are a couple things you hate to see. You hate to see Rissa calling a player by her own name while casting. You also hate to see just the overall lack of paint that was coming in. And that's maybe less so a lack of paint that was on the side of Meowss, but also just the overall sheer dominance that we're seeing coming out of this composition of Friends. I mean, it's a junior, 2 zaps, and a blobber. If that isn't a recipe to just completely cover the map, I'm not quite sure what is. And at the end of the day, you know, weapons like this Carbon Roller, weapons like this Nautilus that don't have a lot of banging power in themselves, but once they have that around, are going to be able to very easily make use of that in order to try to capitalize on some misplays by their opponents. Unfortunately, these weapons just can't get into positions based off this composition that we're seeing so far coming in from Meowss. So overall here, I'd like to see more long-range painting threats, perhaps in the forms of bombs, things like that, to really try to start turning this into Meowss's favor, but I don't think the compositions on paper right now, just in rock, paper, scissors format, are really going to work for their favor. I don't know. Magic, what are your thoughts?
No, I see what you mean, and I think that range is going to be really the key here, but also it depends on the map, right? You know, like, Friends' composition is super suited for a map like Macomart, like you were saying earlier, and like you mentioned with the missiles that were just completely overwhelming them and chipping them down to just, and then once they got into those fights where they were already chipped down, it was just, they got mechanically outplayed, and then it was just a bad time. And so they're gonna have to go with something on Anchovy. They're gonna have to go with something like a K-Pro, something a little bit more slow, where they can punish those super aggressive positions that Friends are taking. Even though they do have that painting power, they do need to step out of their own paint for just a little bit to push up and keep the paint going. So weapons like Nautilus playing a little bit slower. We saw Madness going in a little bit, taking a few close range fights when they really shouldn't. And, weapons like that, if we see a mini Splatling come out, I think that'll be a good addition as well.
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, as we start out into this match, we are seeing Steffi actually switching from the Kensa shot over to the mini Splatling, so that's going to be really good for adding paint. And Shadow actually switching, still on the armor weapon, which is really good. So now Steffi, I think this is great. She switched to this, and now Meowss has 2 missiles. So they are actually counteracting double missiles with double missiles. I think that's a really good idea. So that's going to definitely add to some chaos for this match, K-Bot.
Absolutely going to add to chaos. The other thing I want to compliment here, Omega switching over to that Flingza. Again, we were talking about a little bit more. Having that range is going to be beneficial here. That's exactly what we're seeing across the board coming in from Meowss. We'll see if they can actually capitalize on that, or if this double orange zap, I should say, composition is going to fall to Friends' favor. But the moment, they're the ones that are going 3 down, and it's going to be all about how Meowss decides to get in position as they start to attack this first checkpoint, Magic.
I love seeing the Nautilus up here on this sort of far away position, where they're cross-firing over on the street, as well as keeping themselves safe and using that range really well, but also at any whim popping this Inkjet and putting on a ton of pressure alongside those missiles to completely shut out Friends like they're doing right now, and they're already moving on to their way to the 3rd and final checkpoint. As we see Gator up top there, they decide to take a step off of the tower, which is so important. Unfortunately, Omega goes down with that armor there, and they're a little bit split up because of these missiles, but that was so important to keep the momentum of this push going, keep it staggered, keep waiting for those important moments where you have specials. And that one little step, I love to see that. That's just that little bit of hesitation. I think that was really intelligent, and I think that's the kind of play that we're going to be seeing from Meowss as Omega goes in! Rissa, what is going on?
We saw Omega there trying to stall out the tower, maybe get some kills there up in the front lines to help their teammates be able to push up behind them. So it actually did kind of stall it out there, as we could see. Madness was able to recognize that there was a little bit of stall in the tower there, able to get a pick. And now Inkjetting with this armor to just help continue add pressure into mid. And now there's 2 down on Friends, and now Meowss is in another great position to be able to start pushing up. Oh my goodness, the missiles coming back from Meowss is just amazing. They're constantly throwing missiles at Friends. Friends trying to get in a good position to be able to missile back. Gator with the orange zap, gonna flank through the missiles that they used and help stop that push. So now it's just Steffi left up on Meowss. You can see Happy here from Friends trying to push back up into mid, get mid control back on their side. And now, K-Bot, we see that Friends has 3 specials ready. They're going to start trying to push.
Absolutely, they're really going to start rolling forward here. You notice Happy has this ink armor at the ready, and they're certainly going to try to pull this trigger as soon as they possibly can. And they're probably going to need to do it very shortly here. Ink armor actually coming out of Meowss first as they try to apply a little bit more pressure to this tower, and it looks like they're going to be successful in at least dissuading Friends temporarily. It's going to be a 2-down situation for them, actually, making a 3-down situation as everyone falls down around Happy. Going to be forced to jump on back, and unfortunately just the push, not everything falling into place there, and it starts with getting control of your opponent's street, Magic.
It does, especially utilizing that fan area is super key to getting control of that street area, because that is where the tower is going to be pushing, and if you do not have control over the tower's pushing, you do not have a push on tower control. That's the name of the game. They do have control of this tower, though, as the bomb rush comes in from Isaac on the Blobber, able to take down 1, able to take down 2, and this Blob is able to get into the map. Finally, Friends, we see get a little bit of room going, but for whatever reason, Meowss decided that it was not time to back up. Madness getting 1, staying alive against all odds, and it's a 2-down situation for Friends. And this purple paint is not everywhere that it needs to be to keep this push going. That was a fantastic way to dissuade Friends from getting a good hold back into mid.
It really was. Oh my goodness. I mean, even though, Meowss isn't necessarily pushing the tower off of these stalls, they're just stalling it out, and that's making it that much harder for Friends to be able to get anywhere in a good position to get somewhere to push. So finally Friends here trying to point around mid, and oh my goodness, as missiles pop from Friends, 2 go down on the side of Friends. We're seeing this member of Friends get on the tower trying to stall it out. They know they only have 10 seconds left, but it looks like it's just them in mid. We can see their teammates Gator trying to come up behind them to get anywhere near the tower, but Omega there on the Flingza, able to just roll over anyone that jumps on the tower. So the score is now at 1-1 K-Bot.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely good job there. Coming in from Meowss, able to just, again, control mid. At the end of the day, all they needed to do was try to control as much of their side of the map as possible, because they knew after that first opening push. Hey, by the way, someone needs to go back and clip that in chat and count how many missiles there were. I don't know.
17 and 14 on the side of Friends. There were 31 missiles that game.
I would not want to be playing. Okay, that just sounds annoying, no matter what team you're playing on. Anyway, so that, missiles aside, at the end of the day, very nice response coming in from Meowss. At the end of the day, again, all they needed to do was play the defensive game, and that's one of the things that, once you try to capitalize on making sure that you have that, you can play that for the rest of the game, and that almost doesn't even matter what mode. Try to play keep away with your opponents in terms of just maintaining map control and maintaining these things around the objective that you're going to want to take care of. So hats off to Meowss there for the response, but we'll see how Friends starts to take this now. So we're heading to Rainmaker, Humpback, Pump Track, which can tend to be a very volatile and blitz heavy mode. Rissa, what do you think here?
Okay, just if both teams come out again with double missiles, I think this is going to be just absolute chaos. Humpback, has that big mid area, but when pushes are happening in either side spawn, if there's double missiles going off from both sides, I could see this getting very, very chaotic. And I think it's really great that last match too, Omega switched from the Carbon, which it's a weapon that needs a lot of paint to be able to move, to actually switching to the Flingza. So the Flingza can paint much better than the Carbon, and also has the missiles, which is just so great on them to be able to counter double missiles with double missiles. And I feel like not only that, but the Meowss was able to just pair up well together a lot better that match. So looks like we are starting out this match. One missile's actually coming out from the side of Friends, and then still we got the double missiles on the side of Meowss Magic.
I believe that the strange in-game name we're seeing is actually Bless. And so Bless deciding to opt for the T-Tech here in response to the missile kind of pressure and using the ink. I mean, I guess as you see, there's already a gigantic push starting, and that's already going up to 13-3, maybe heading up all the way up to... What? That was 30 seconds in, that was already up to 3? Did they just get wiped, or were they out of position? I guess it was a combination of the both, but Meowss just took it and ran. That was the fastest Rainmaker push I've ever seen, with 2 people still left up on the enemy team. That was insane.
Absolutely. I think it's, as you mentioned, some of these members being slightly out of position, probably looking to try to go in the offensive, and all of a sudden, it's a 2-10 situation. You have to try to make that quick adjustment. And on this map, you do not have the time to make those kinds of quick adjustments, especially once this Rainmaker starts to get around this, what we call this choke point here on the far right side of the map. And now Friends starting to try to approach here, but they don't have as much paint control. They don't have as many members heading on forward. And with these 10 missiles, it's going to dissuade Friends from really going much further forward. And you'll see just how much that Meowss has to do right now. All they have to do, hold on to the pink area on their own plat. That's all the game plan really boils down to, and that's all they've got to do for the next 3.5 minutes, Rissa.
Yeah, they know that they have already such an amazing lead, so they know that they just kind of need to stay together in their pink paint. They need to not feed in too much, and right now, as they are doing just that, they get a pick on Isaac, the blob of friends. So we see, I like the way that Meowss is just kind of grouping up here around the Rainmaker, making sure that none of them die here, make sure they get in really good defensive positions, and really smart jump backs there from Meowss, as they know that they have their specials and they need to save them.
They did make some really key positional adjustments right at the end there. Unfortunately, it got a little bit scary because there was a lot of green paint going up. We see Bless trying to find a way around the Rainmaker, but Steffi is just going to take it and run all the way through mid, and is just going to keep going because there's nobody there to stop her. That was a fantastic heads-up play from Steffi there to just circumvent all of that fighting and just put the objective as far away from their base as possible. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of green paint up on this plat area. One down on the side of Friends as some specials come online on both sides. The missile's gonna keep everybody away, but unfortunately one goes down on the side of Meowss first as this inkjet finally comes to a close, and this Rainmaker has all of the time in the world to let his teammates just keep trading out. The inkjet finally gets popped alongside, I believe, a couple of bombs, and that is going to put an end to this push, but this Blobber is in a very good spot, K-Bot.
It's going to be so hard to try to replicate that push that we saw coming in from Meowss earlier, and Friends is going to have to find every single thing. It's going to need to be a wipe in order to get them back into this map. It's a 2-9 situation for Meowss right now, so perhaps Friends has another opportunity, but the bombs are still there. Omega is still there, able to put out plenty of paint coverage, and again, they have to touch the pedestal, folks, in order to get this one back down, in order to take back control of the lead. But with this positioning right now that we're seeing coming in from Meowss, now it's a 2-9 situation. We're probably not going to see it on this next push. Happy going to go down here as well, and Friends, once again, a little bit out of it in order to take this one down. Omega going to go ahead and drop back into mid. Again, buying a little bit more breathing room for Meowss, and this is all they have to do. I commented on it a minute and a half ago. They've only got to make it another minute.
Yeah, they do. And I like that Omega took the Rainmaker as far away from their pedestal as they possibly could, just to get it a little bit stally. But I mean, the map control that Friends has had in mid has been really great ever since they got it. So we're seeing Isaac here using this bomb rush to add pressure, you know, make these members of Meowss move away, and they do just that. They're going to jump back to spawn, try and get in positions to be able to save their specials. We are going into the last 30 seconds of this match, and now Friends is yet again in control of the Rainmaker, but there they are called out there by Meowss. Meowss doing a really good job at just grouping up, you know, not trying not to feed in, and they're grouping up like that in their little bit of pink paint really paid off for them, because that allowed them to just be able to stop the Rainmaker magic.
I don't know what compelled them to push towards the bunker area on the side of Meow's map, but it did not work out well for them because Madness was there to just sideswipe them. I believe that one was already over there as well, but Madness was just there ready because they had used that position so often. And now, as they are able to pick this Rainmaker up just barely as it goes into overtime, there's nobody down on the map yet. There's armor coming in, and everybody is ready to make its one last battle. We see Isaac in a beautiful position underneath the platform, but a stray bomb causes the Rainmaker to go down. Or wait, was that Omega sharking from
Omega.
mid? That was... oh my gosh.
I can't tell how Omega got that one to shut it down, but, I mean, hey, that will work. You know, there's a lot of different ways to stop the Rainmaker there. A lot of it, I was very happy to see, actually. You know, you saw Meowss go ahead, jump back, get themselves back to the defensive position the second that their opponents picked up the Rainmaker. That's what they did every single time, because again, that's all they had to do. And look, I'm sorry, friends, but you can't be pushed up that far. You can't be that spread out. You can't make sure that you have everything, especially when you've got a player like Madness on the other side. We've seen so many times Madness go off with doubles, triples, etc., because he just comes in from a side angle where you're not expecting it. You've got to be ready to shut down Madness on this Nautilus, and if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to have yourselves a successful game overall. So, going to be interesting to see what they can try to do. Probably going to have to go back. They're going to have to find another composition thing, because so far, you know, their engage threat really is not fully online and is not fully able to respond to what Omega and Madness are putting out here. Ressa, I mean, what have we seen out of Friends so far that you really think they need to lean into here?
14 missiles, by the way.
Friends, you know, I don't know, it seems like they, you know, it's these middle of the match, you know, in-game tweaks, you know, maybe there's this one thing that's really, they can call out, hey, this is what our issue is right now. This is what we need to try and counter. So I'm not sure from their perspective what that one thing is. You know, maybe it is, you know, madness, sharking around with that Nautilus, popping up inkjets everywhere. So as the weapons come out here, we're going to see the double missiles come back on the side of Friends. So, you know, maybe that's what they need because, Meowss here, as we see Steffi popping missiles like we're talking about, has their double missile still. Magic.
This is sounding like the whole double booyah, like, weird meta thing where it's like, oh, you don't have two booyahs? Get two booyahs. That'll solve all of your problems. And I don't think that's what Friends needs to focus on right now. I think they need to focus on positioning like this H3 from Happy just deciding to walk right into Steffi, and now there's 2 down. It's just, they're taking some very strange fights and strange 1v1s as we see this shooter is all the way in the enemy base. I believe that's the NZAP on the side of Gator, and barely able to take a pick, but these picks aren't going to consist of aren't going to consistently win you the game. And K-Bot, I think that's the adjustment that Friends needs to make.
I mean, absolutely. So far, in a lot of what Friends has been doing, you know, in this tournament, they've been able to take some of these weird fights where you would argue they shouldn't be able to win based on positioning, but based on skill, they've been able to do that. Now, when they're matching up against someone as, you know, opponents as mechanically skilled as themselves, they've got to be a little bit more cautious when heading into a lot of these fights. But all the meanwhile, as we turn our attention to the objective timer, it looks like they're starting to find their groove a little bit more. They've got control of mid here entirely, and perhaps with a little bit of a change up in weapons. We saw this look from them earlier when they wanted to try to be a little bit more aggressive and they wanted to be a little bit more engagey. You know, they're able to find that here so far. And we'll have to see if they can hold on to these zones for right now. 2 members on this bunker, but it looks like they're going to give the zones over to their opponents. Probably trying to look for the re-engage here in a bit of time, but they might just have to try to stall things out here. I don't know. We're kind of in a weird lull spot here, especially as we're spectating Bless here try to get up on this bunker when right now there's so much orange pressure that's coming in from Meowss.
There is, and it's continued here. Meow's pressure with Madness's Inkjet followed up with their teammates just pairing up to noticing where Madness's Inkjet is. So that type of pressure is really good, and type of synergy teamwork is very, very good. And now Meowss has no penalty right now. As the points go down, they are going to go ahead and take the lead here, and it's up to Friends to get in a good position here to finally get some picks. And looks like Gator tried to drop down, get that pick on Madness. Did get called out, though, by Madness. And now that's leaving Friends in a position in a 3v4. So they're going to have to try and regroup here as the penalty is going down and the counter is going down, Magic.
Counter is going down, but they were able to pause it for at least a little bit. 2 going down on the side of Meowss. We do see the 3 up now in that bunker area. As this bomb rush comes online, that could spell huge, huge danger for the side of Meowss as they're getting caught out in all kinds of green ink. I believe that's Steffi all the way up on the other side of the enemy bunk, but they were able to cap the zone on the side of Friends and take down everyone who was up in the higher elevations. And all of a sudden, there's 2 down on the side of Friends. Wait, who's there? Oh, it's a random Omega who was able to take down 2 members of Friends, and now there's a lot of orange paint in mid. Madness is in the enemy bunk, and that crazy play, that crazy sneak and play from Omega netted a huge mid control. And like you said, K-Bot, this mechanical skill matchup is not in the favor of Friends anymore. We see players like Omega and Madness, and they have all the skill it takes to match up to their potential. Friends takes back the zone, but let's see what Meowss can do. K-Bot.
60 seconds left to go, and yeah, exactly here. You're not going to expect Omega coming in from behind you, and now you just can't take this one when you're staring right into Madness's Nautilus, popping the Inkjet, trying to move a little bit further forward, but perhaps a little bit too far forward here. We'll have to see if someone else can try to punish this. No, not going to get punished for going that far into the enemy zone. Still trying to approach from this far side here, and now is able to find a trade with Happy. It's a gen situation for Friends right now, and it looks like it's going to be the cap for Meowss, as they're able to hold on for the time right now. 30 seconds left to go here for Friends to try to regroup, try to push back in, but it looks like Bless is just diving in right now, trying to find a little bit more pressure here as the bombs are coming in for Meowss as well. Can't quite seem to find a lot around this corner here, and now Bless finally tries to turn it. 2 down for Meowss right now with just 14 seconds left to go. Friends is going to have to hold on to this one for dear life. Rissa, what are we looking for?
They are, and right now they are at the man advantage. They are at specialty advantage, so we're going to see Bless use these missiles. If you look at the top left, they have armor ready. Happy is going to pop that armor as well, and oh my goodness, I'm not sure quite what happened there, but 2 members of Friends do go down, and that is leaving Meowss in a really good position to be able to just push up and cap the zone.
Wow, I think Bless saw the go button in terms of the missiles, decided to hop over on cut, and somebody was there waiting for him. All of a sudden, the missiles got popped on the other side, Omega gets another one, and that was it. That was done. Friends, one overextension, that just killed it.
18 and 18 missiles that time, so what is that, 36?
36.
Something ridiculous. I mean, we're not talking about it because it's like, you know, at best it's a little bit of a nuisance. Like, oh, okay, missiles again. Great. Whatever. But, you know, so far, I mean, Meowss is just kind of having the better of Friends right now. And again, a lot of these fights, I think a lot of Meowss's positioning, too, is actually very good, very strong. And you have to imagine that out of these players that, you know, obviously have played for so long, especially Madness, on that Nautilus has certainly been, you know, one of the rising stars out of WLR recently, where they're able to just, you know, do a little bit of funneling, maybe perhaps not as much as Dylon, but WLR certainly able to funnel that right into Madness in terms of paint, in terms of armors, just let Madness do his thing, coming in from all these sorts of angles, and seems to work, as well as Omega stepping up with actually, you know, this foil Flingza, able to put in quite a decent amount of work there too, with a slightly longer range than that Carbon. But now we go to Clamplets on Piranha Pit. This one is going to be really interesting to see which team has the better claimers, Rissa.
It is going to be really interesting. And, you know, we keep talking about these double missiles, but I mean, I have not seen both teams have double missiles in grands of a tournament, so I just think it's really interesting. And with a map as big as Piranha Pit, I mean, so much missile potential, so many areas of this map that you can paint for missiles. So, and two, highlighting that Meowss has Omega, who is primarily a Carbon Roller player. You know, it's such a big and open map that I could see Omega sticking with that Flingza for the missiles, and also for a weapon that can paint better. Magic, do you think... Oh, as we go into this match, what do you think is going to be the answer from Friends here?
I don't think that they have an answer right now. I think they're just going to keep trying to throw their heads at the wall and hope that they can get something going with this armor-based engage with the missiles kind of composition. I think that's their bread and butter. I think it's what they've been doing for the whole tournament, and I don't think they're going to stop now. I think they're just going to try and see if they can make better plays. And fortunately, when you get missiles thrown at you every 20 seconds like we've been seeing, literally 20 seconds in and missiles are already getting popped on both sides, it's not going to make much of a difference whether or not you can hit your shots. As the first clam goes in on the side of Meowss, and here comes even more clams. It didn't look like they even had that much control, but all of a sudden this clam basket is down to 80 points, and it's still going. They need 5 clams to finish this game in the first minute. There's 2 players left alive. It's only Madness and Omega, and they're going to jump out. Oh my cow. What?
Down to 15 very early on for Meowss, and what an excellent push. Again, capitalizing off of that, making sure that they have all of the area angles covered, making sure that they know exactly where their opponents are. But it's another 2-down situation for Friends, and again, Meowss is just going to be able to continue holding control of mid, continue holding control of the clan economy, and just making sure the Friends can't do anything, as they haven't been able to do so far. It's the positioning so far that we're seeing come out of Meowss, combined with their amount of coverage. I say positioning, and then Madness is all the way down there on useless, so I don't know what he's doing down there quite. But regardless, more or less so far. Their positioning has been completely on point, and we'll have to see if they're going to make an overstep to allow friends to come back in this map, and it looks like they might have found it with now a delayed 3-down situation, Rissa.
Yeah, finally, friends here able to get in a good position. You can see they're painting around the map. Madness! Oh my goodness! Right as friends breaks open the basket, Madness on the flank. What a 1v1 between Madness and Bless there. So even though Madness, did go down in that trade, that was actually a really good distraction to keep friends from getting any more clams in the basket. So I think very interesting stall-out tactic, and it worked well in their favor because Friends wasn't able to quite score any other clams in with their push, and now this is allowing Meowss to push back in with their missiles. Though, right as I'm saying that, to go down on the side of Meowss, we see Madness here popping this Inkjet, trying to stop this little push that Friends has going, and they did just that, but I saw a jump in from Happy there, as Happy's at the basket, trying to score in a clam, trying to stall it out as much as possible. Meowss is actually, looks like they are trying to maybe have some members go into mid to ignore this flank, but Omega and Shadow there finally able to call that out, and wow, Magic. Wow.
I think that they just have their tap shoes on because they were ready to go dancing. From what I just saw, several strange fights where they were just completely just going at each other and moving around. Why are they doing this? I don't understand half the time, but that's why I'm the one sitting here commentating. They're the ones playing the game. Is they're gonna get 3 down already on the side of Friends. They don't have the clams quite yet to keep it pushed in, but here comes the missiles one more time. We see the missiles come out on the side of Friends to try and just keep a little bit of room to breathe. 24 clams, Madness already in the tire area, putting on a lot of pressure with the range of that Nautilus. The missiles come in, the armor and the Inkjet are at the ready. This could be the final push of the set. Here come the second pair of missiles, and K-Bot, is this going to be it?
Missiles coming out. I might actually be, as Madness is able to find even another one there with that Inkjet. Power Clam coming in the basket, but it looks like we're not going to have another Power Clam up. Madness has 9 clams to his name, and it might just be enough to get us down to the penalty point mark. Now one more clam needs to find the basket. Here comes Shadow coming up with it. Can the paint control be there? It cannot, and that is going to be the game, set, and match. Meowss is going to take SOS 27.
What a set. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. I have not seen a set quite like this in some time. This was something. There was so many, crazy, 1v1s that were going on. A lot of coordination that was actually paying off very well. I mean, wow. Do you have any final thoughts about this set, Magic?
I think that Friends came out with a strong showing and they were like, okay, great, this works. Let's just keep doing this for the rest of the set no matter what happens. And I know that's not exactly what happened, but that's kind of what it felt like, whereas Meowss was able to make the adjustments that they needed, put a little bit more paint to their composition, stick to what they know. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the set, Steffi was a mini player and they were playing K-Shot in that first map and it didn't really go that well, and Omega, who's traditionally a Carbon player, recognizes that Carbon's not going to work all the time, makes that adjustment. And I think that the adaptability that we saw from Meowss was the most important factor, and you saw it in the way that they transitioned their gameplay. I mean, even Madness was kind of a little bit off kilter during that first game, and after that, we saw them cleaning up doubles and triples left and right because they were playing a little bit more patient, a little bit more with the paint. And I think that those mid-set adjustments were the biggest component of that win.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That mid-set, that after game 1, they're like, hey, we need a little bit more range to deal with this. Because at the end of the day, all that Friends could really do as that one was progressing was try to take as many of these fights as possible, try to win as many of these, get in there under short range and try to win some of these firefights. And unfortunately, they just did not have the ability to do so tonight. So Meowss is going to go ahead and take the tournament. Congratulations to them. I don't really understand this because I was brought on and I was completely unaware until tonight that this was Cat Made. I don't get it. I don't get it, guys. Come on. Really? Is this what we're doing
Really?
for people around here nowadays? Really?
The entire month, K-Bot.
The entire month. So on that note, of the entire month, of course, SOS is going to be back next week. Next Wednesday, that'll start at 8 o'clock p.m. But I believe this week is testing grounds. I don't know if Kraken can switch over to the IPL calendar so that I can see instead of having to go from memory. There it is. And this week is testing grounds, so IPL will be running their next tournament Friday night. They'll also have an 8 p.m. Eastern Time start. So if you're interested, be sure to join the IPL Discord server and the like there. But I believe that is going to do it from us tonight. I'll let Rissa and Magic do their shoutouts while Kraken tells me if I need to plug anything else before wrapping this one up. Rissa, where can the good people find you?
Right, just really quickly here, you guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Rissa High. That's about it from me. How about you, Magic?
So I am on Twitter, probably more so now. I'm not going to be able to be streaming in the next few days, most likely, so don't follow me on there because you're not going to see anything for a little while. Kbot, where can the good people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at kbot_273 and Twitch at kbot_273. That's going to do it from us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the TriCast from us. I think this is something that, we don't get the chance to do a ton. It was certainly a lot of fun and a pleasure to cast with the both of you, but that's going to do it from us tonight here. And so on behalf of the commentary crew and on behalf of Inkling Performance Labs, thank you all so much for joining us for another edition of Swim or Sink. We hope to see you back here next week for SOS 28 and this coming Friday for Testing Grounds. Have a good night, everybody.